It is just like one thing after another. Mostly listening to CHAOL whining. I really need to quit underestimating Lysandra.
BRIARCLIFF, why does that ring a bell?
I feel like I've been reading so much tonight, so much has been happening, and I'm this far.
Can't talk now, I'm busy with my friends.
We're still here in tandem read land. Amateur hour over there without AELIN, you know? Is this what the end of this book is gonna be, just me crying the whole time?
Hello, my dear friends and Throne of Glass lovers. I am so excited for this video because we're gonna finish the Throne of Glass series, however long it takes. I could very well see this being like a 2-hour vlog. I thought about breaking it up, but we're just gonna put it all together. It was always my plan to put these last 3 books in one video together. In case you missed it, I did full spoiler vlogs for the first 3 books in the Throne of Glass series, which is Assassin's Blade, Throne of Glass, and Crown of Midnight. Then I followed that up with a middle book series reading vlog full of spoilers, so that's Heir of Fire and Queen of Shadows. And now today, we are finally finishing the Throne of Glass series. This is like crazy. Honestly, like editing Lottie knows so much more than I know now, and I am both excited for her and scared for her. And you know so much more than I know now because this is a full spoiler vlog. So if you haven't read the series, I am going to be giving spoilers along the way. So don't worry, I'm not going to spoil Kingdom of Ash while I'm talking about Empire of Storms or anything like that. So if you want to follow along with me in this video, you definitely can. But I want to talk really quickly about my plan for the reading order and things like that. In case you didn't know, I'm sure you know because I'm sure you're a fan of the series if you're watching this video. But these are the next 2 books in the Throne of Glass series. We have Empire of Storms, which is technically book 5 or 6. It all depends on like where you put Assassin's Blade, but by this point you should have read Assassin's Blade. This is book 6 for me, so we're gonna call it book 6. And then Tower of Dawn is book 7. So that was the publishing order, that was how they were released, but these books take place during the same timeline. So over the same course of however many weeks or months the events of these books take place. This one follows, I think, 5 to 8 different POVs on the main continent, and then this one follows CHAOL and Nesryn, and I want to say, yes, YRENE, Miss YRENE from Assassin's Blade is going to come back in this one. We're following them on the southern continent. A lot of people really recommend doing a tandem read of both of these, so you read them at the same time. You flip back and forth between the 2 books and you read a couple chapters in one, then a couple chapters in the other to kind of like keep the timelines lined up. So you see what's going on the main continent, then you flip over, go see what's going on the southern continent, and go back and forth. A lot of people recommend doing the tandem read because they find Tower of Dawn to be a slog or boring or slow. But I'm gonna be honest, guys, CHAOL Westfall, I'm like kind of on his PR team. Is CHAOL perfect? No, but I do not hate him the way a lot of people hate him. So I'm not as concerned about being bored during this book. And then Empire of Storms follows Selena. We've got Manon or Manon and the witches. We've got Aedion. We've got Rowan. Just like everyone on the main continent is in this one. And I will admit, like, the main continent is probably where the party's at. So honestly, all this to say, the main reason that I was kind of like team tandem read, or I was thinking I was team tandem read, is because of Manon. And I feel like I'm just not going to want to miss Manon. Also, all of you guys say that this book, the ending of this book, is insane and has a crazy cliffhanger, and you didn't want to have to read all of Tower of Dawn before continuing on with Kingdom of Ash to get back to that cliffhanger. So I am extremely conflicted. I feel like every 15 minutes I'm switching back and forth between what I think I want to do. Because on the one hand, I've been meaning to read these 2 books for the entire month of May, and it is now May 26th when I'm filming this, and I still haven't read them. And I'm realizing I think it's because the tandem read does scare me. It just feels like a lot to read these as one book, and I love switching back and forth between a physical read and a Kindle read and an audiobook, which I know is a lot, but that's just how I keep momentum with really long books, especially books in series. I can't really take breaks from them. I like to kind of binge them. I don't want it to take me like 2 weeks to read one of these books, and I can read it in like 2 or 3 days if I am constantly switching between the physical, the Kindle, the audiobook. I know it's chaotic, but I did purchase the Throne of Glass ebook like over a year ago. It has all of the books in here just because I knew I was going to want to flip back and forth between both, and I found it on like a deal like a year or 2 ago. And then also my friend Carter here on YouTube texted me a couple weeks ago when the audiobooks were on sale. Audible was doing a sale. The later Throne of Glass books are Audible exclusives, so you have to listen through there. So she texted me to grab them while they were on sale because she knows I love doing this. So all this to say, I do have all the versions. With all the versions, I'm just a little bit like stressed about managing the tandem read. Part of me is just kind of overwhelmed by it, I think, and I haven't really really admitted that to myself because I do think I could do it. I just like can't decide if I want to. I'm like, do I actually want to do this? I also texted a couple of my friends about it, and more of them didn't do the tandem read than I thought. I thought more people did it than maybe actually did. And a lot of you guys, I have so many mixed opinions. Also, I posted about this on my Instagram story today because I've been feeling very conflicted. I got so many mixed opinions. So I hope with love and respect, you all can love and respect me for whatever I choose to do. I think that there's not a wrong answer with how to read the series. So I feel like I need to just stop stressing about it and get to reading. I think what I'm going to start by doing is, so you're supposed to, with the tandem read, start with Empire of Storms, and you're supposed to read through chapter 5. I did mark that. Well, I marked it with my bookmark and then I took the bookmark out. That gets us through the first like 75 pages of this book, which I only have an hour to read right now anyway, because I'm going to go to dinner here in like another hour or two. So I don't think I'm going to get past this page mark for now. So I'm putting off the decision until then. Once I get there, I may decide if I want to flip over and see how our bestie CHAOL is doing, or if I want to just keep going forward with Empire of Storms. I know that was a very long-winded explanation, but I just kind of wanted to yap about it because I know you guys understand. A lot of you guys in my DMs were saying that you ended up like starting doing the tandem read and then it felt overwhelming, so you just said screw it and you finished out Empire of Storms, then you went back to Tower of Dawn and finished that out. A lot of you also said you liked reading them separately on your first read, and then when you did a reread, you did the tandem, and that was really cool and fun, which is also a great idea. So I have lots of different things in my head. I'm kind of thinking I might start with trying it and see how I feel. And then if it's just kind of annoying me, maybe I will give up and just go forth doing them separately. All I know is I'm just going to start with Empire of Storms because that's what I'm supposed to start with, and we'll take it from there. I am so excited to be back in this world. I have been thinking about these characters nonstop for the last like month or so. I finished Queen of Shadows, I want to say like 6 or 8 weeks ago or so, and I am so freaking ready to lock back in and finish this series. So we're going to read all 3 of these books back to back, I think. Kingdom of Ash will be the final book in the series, book 8 after Tower of Dawn or the tandem read, and it's not quite 1,000 pages, but it almost is. So that's why it's probably going to be a long video. I will put on the screen right now what I decided to do, tandem or separate, so that if you want to follow along with me, you know what you're getting yourself into. Because if you're doing it differently than me, then you probably would want to wait till I'm done with both of them to go back and watch it. Does this make sense? Obviously, I'm not going to be able to touch on every single plot point that happens in these books. This is not like an unhinged recap kind of video and vlog, and it's going to take me so much longer to read these books if I have to pause every 5 minutes and like explain to you everything that's gone down. I just know that with the amount of content that's going to be in all of these books, it's like probably nearly 2,000 pages worth of content. I'm not going to be able to share every last thing, obviously. So I'm going to share my highlights with you along the way. It's kind of an overwhelming feeling to document this experience because there's so much to it. There's so much I could share. I could be filming myself 24/7 reading these books because I don't want to miss a reaction, but at the same time, I don't want to put off reading them just because I can't get my camera out for whatever reason. So long-winded kind of disclaimer, but I'm just in my head about it a little bit. So I wanted to just share that because I think it's going to help me not be so stressed about being perfect and just have fun with it, because that's what this video is supposed to be, just fun. So, well, I don't know if it'll be fun. I'll probably be sobbing by the end. We shall see, but wish me luck. I'm gonna get started with Empire of Storms. I'm gonna go sit in the living room and just read till it's time to go to dinner, and we will get cracking on this book and jump back into this world. I am so excited. All right, so I got through the prologue and now I'm starting part 1, The Firebringer. The prologue was drama. The prologue kind of threw me off at first because I thought we were in present day, but we are not. It's kind of a flashback to Princess Elena. I thought she was a queen though. It really doesn't matter. I try not to get hung up on these things. You guys know me. I get hung up on these things and I need not do that. So anyway, I feel like the prologue intro kind of thing though just really set the tone for this book in a really intense way. The last part of this prologue, it says, Elena sent up a final prayer on a pillar of smoke rising from the valley floor that the unborn heirs to a burden that would doom or save Aurelia would forgive her for what she was about to do. Because basically Elena realized we need to capture Erawan and trap him because we're gonna lose unless we do that. And Gavin was like, well, then it's just someone else's problem. And Elena's like, well, I think it's better someone else's problem than like we for sure doom this entire world forever, you know, like maybe in the future they're gonna have more like powers, maybe some fae will come together and work together and it'll be like different circumstances and maybe they could be more powerful and they could have a chance. So I just really enjoyed that like little backstory. I thought that was a really like intense, fun way to start it off. And now we're diving into part 1, The Firebringer. And we're starting off with Alid. How exciting. You guys know I love Manon, and Alid feels like a little bit of manon, you know? Let's see how Elid's been doing. Okay guys, I hit chapter 3 and you know what that means. It's manon. I'm gonna say manon or manon at any given time. I do know that it's supposed to be manon. I hope that you will accept me saying manon or manon. I just read it as manon for a while in Era Fire until I finally realized it was manon, and then it was kind of hard to undo in my head. So I've got both coexisting, but manon is here. I had to get through the first 2 chapters, but we are so back. I feel like I am officially back in the world now that we are with manon. So I'm so excited to read this chapter, but let me give you a little recap of what happened in the first 2 chapters. So basically, AELIN is like kind of down bad in the forest. She's looking for Selena/AELIN. She doesn't know it's one person. Like honestly, bless her heart, her and a lot of other people. So if we recall, AELIN has a messed up foot and she's just like not a camper. You know what I mean? Like I'm not a camper and I see that in her. We're indoorsy girls and that's okay. But she's roaming the forest and she's struggling, right? So she's trying to go find Selena/AELIN, but she doesn't even know they're the same person. She's on her way to Terrasen though. And she drank some pond water and got sick. Not her brightest moment. And she's eaten all of her snacks that Manon gave her. So girly is just struggling. Then Lorcan shows up. Lorcan's following her. Lorcan is basically word key hunting and AELIN has one and she doesn't really know it. I would really not like for Queen Maeve to get a hold of that particular word key. It'd be good if we could get that in AELIN's hands. So, and then in chapter 2, we got the whole gang, the whole like Terrasen gang. So Selena, aedion, Alexandra, Evangeline, Rowan, the whole crew. They basically have just crossed into Terrasen and they're preparing for this meeting with Lord Darrow, and Aedion's helped kind of like put this together. He is like the richest lord, I want to say, or has the most land or something after AELIN, and he's kind of been holding it down for the past decade while things have been a little crazy on the continent. Aedion is like, okay, y'all need to meet up. He needs to like pledge his loyalty and we're gonna like make a plan and start working on raising an army. And that's kind of all that's been going on. And thank God we are back to Manon and the witches. So Manon Blackbeak stood at attention by one end of the long dark bridge into Morath and watched her grandmother's coven descend from the gray clouds. Ugh. Not Granny Blackbeak, you guys know, we hate her. The High Witch of the Blackbeak Witch clan's voluminous obsidian robes were unmistakable. Wow. Can you imagine this in a TV show? Like seeing all the... Wow. I just love this girl so much. You know Granny Blackbeak's gonna be pissed. All right, guys. So before dinner, I got to about page 50, but I needed to get to page 75 before it was time to make a decision on if I'm staying with Empire of Storms or if I'm switching over to Tower of Dawn. So I wanted to pause because I got back home and we are at the inflection point. I never really feel like I'm gonna be fully ready to make this decision. I wish I could keep putting off the decision, but at the same time, I need to have confidence, faith, and trust that there isn't a wrong decision and that it'll be fun either way. Really quick before we jump into what I'm gonna do next, I was just gonna recap what I've read so far in Empire of Storms. So basically Manon is going to try to like sack Rifthold, kind of like she and the witches are going to try to take it back because King Dorian is currently in charge of it, and obviously King Erawan is not about that. He's like, witches, we're going to take back Rifthold and I need you to capture Dorian and bring him back to me because we're obviously putting the collar back on him. I'm like, on high alert. I'm like, we are not putting the collar back on Dorian. But anyway, so I'm really interested to see what Manon's gonna do there because she's like excited to go ride ABRAXOS and kind of like be evil. But at the same time, she is just like feeling more sensitive and more so like questioning things, asking like, why are we doing this? She said thank you to the blacksmith who made her helmet, which she doesn't usually do. She's having some manners and we love the development. We love the growth. Rowan has been sent to go deal with all of that. Going back to our besties, our friends in Terrasen. So they met up with this dude, Darrow, and Darrow kind of like had a tough love conversation with AELIN. And he honestly, he was kind of rude and mean and stinky. He could have been much kinder, but he brought up some good questions and he was kind of being the old man who's like, young girl, why should I put my faith in you? Like, I don't know. Darrow was definitely kind of like ruining the fun vibes a little bit, but at the same time, I'm not saying I agree with him, but I do think like if he wasn't going to say it, someone was. You know what I mean? It was entertaining to read about. Darrow's just kind of like the elder leader in Terrasen. He's just not real impressed with AELIN's kind of like guard. She's got a shapeshifter who is pretty dangerous. She's got Rowan who's pretty scary, and you know, Rowan used to be with Maeve, and then also just like AELIN used to be Selena, and she was like living in the capital working for the king, had a fling with Dorian, and our old man Darrow's kind of like, girl, you kind of turned your back on Terrasen there for a while. Let's calm down. She was literally just trying to survive after being in Indovir, but it was a good conversation, okay? I enjoyed it. It felt like some good like Game of Thrones kind of talk in a good way. That's a compliment. So anyway, AELIN, I do feel bad bad for her though, because bless her heart, she hasn't been home like literally her whole life, and she goes home and immediately she's met with this old man just like being crotchety and kind of poo-pooing her plan, you know? But essentially Darrow's like, you need to get some allies if we're gonna like fight this war and win this thing. He basically is like, what good are you if you're not gonna marry someone who has a whole army, not just like Rowan? Which she's like, I think Rowan is actually gonna help us more than you think. Anyway, she does kind of decide to hear Darrow out, and she decides to go to Skulls Bay. So she's taking the crew to Skulls Bay. That is the plan. We're leaving Evangeline and Fleetfoot with Murtaugh, Darrow, and Fen. And it was like really sweet. And we're just glad that Fleetfoot's okay. And also, of course, Evangeline. So AELIN left them there, and she was like, Evangeline, maybe you could like work on them. You know, you're cute, you're fun, you're smart, like work your magic on them. And then at the end, they got word about Manon and the witches going to Rifthold to take the city. And so Rowan is like, obviously I'm gonna go because he's the only one who can get there fast enough since he can fly. Those are the vibes. And now we're paused. So the next chapter is a Dorian chapter, but I kind of want to switch over to CHAOL. Should I do it? I think I'm gonna try it. I think I'm just kind of like, what other time am I gonna get an opportunity to do something like this? I just figure let's try it, you know? I wanna go see what's up with CHAOL. I wanna look at the map of the southern continent. I wanna see what's going on with Nesryn. I wanna see YRENE. Like, I'm kind of impatient. We're gonna give it a try. Also, I have my bookmarks, and so, I don't know, I just thought, like, let's do it. So I'm gonna switch over, and now I'm just supposed to read chapter 1. So we're gonna do that. Let's check in with CHAOL and see how he's doing. Guys, I just spent like 10 minutes tabbing up the Tower of Dawn. I just went through and tabbed everywhere where you're supposed to switch. I listened to the first chapter of Tower of Dawn just now while I was doing that. So I was just mostly listening to CHAOL whining for the chapter, which is okay. I am a CHAOL defender, generally speaking. I'm not like gonna go to war for CHAOL. I too would be whining and complaining if I was in a wheelchair after not being in a wheelchair my whole life.
Because I don't think I would be a very inspiring disabled person.
There was a new term used that's like a southern continent thing called the Coggin, I think. The Coggin of the southern continent's shining palace in Antica. I think the Coggin are like the royals or the ruling class. And of course, Nesryn is there. She's being an angel. She's oiling the wheels on CHAOL's wheelchair. The Coggins, they sound a lot like the Call in Game of Thrones, like Khal Drogo. The centuries spent as a nomadic horse people in the grassy steppes of the continent's eastern lands. The emergence of the first Coggin, a warlord who unified the scattered tribes into a conquering force that took the continent piece by piece, wielding cunning and strategic brilliance to force a sweeping empire. Isn't that interesting? It just reminded me. So anyway, all right guys, it's been a day, a singular day. It is now the next night. I've been reading. I have lots of updates in terms of like what's been going on plot wise, but it's like 10 p.m. and honestly, I just kind of want to like lay here and read. I don't know if I want to like sit here and yap for an hour, because I think I would end up yapping for at least 30 minutes if I sit here and get started telling you all the things that have been going on. I am currently on chapter 8 of Tower of Dawn. I feel like I've been reading nonstop in all of my free time, and this is how much progress I've made. It's a little demoralizing, but we gotta stay strong. In terms of Empire of Storms, I'm on chapter 14. I'm about this far into Empire of Storms. We've made some more progress, I feel like, here than, like, I hit the 100-page mark in Empire of Storms. I have not yet hit that in Tower of Dawn. So far, I'm kind of down with the tandem read. Now that I've gotten started with it, I see the merit in both, and I can see why people ride for either one. Is it annoying to switch back and forth with the audiobooks? Yes. I'm trying to think of all of my updates. Basically, AELIN, Aedion, and Lysandra are going to the coast to try to go down to Skulls Bay. Dorian got rescued by Rowan, and they're on their way there in a boat now, which is like the funniest thing ever when Rowan in hawk form is like pulling Dorian's little boat along. Like, that actually tickled me so much. Dorian, bless his heart, like, literally had no plan. When the witches descended to sack city of Rifthold, he was just like, oh my god, what are we gonna do? I was like, Dorian, please. But for some reason, Manon likes Dorian and kind of wanted to save him. So she like went out of her way to make sure that he didn't get killed and was like, Dorian, run. And he's like, wait, why? That was like actually so funny. He is such like a himbo sometimes. I'm sorry. We love him anyway. Rowan comes in to save the day, saves him. Manon ends up killing some witches in order to save him. And so then she has to answer for her crimes. That was crazy. We need to talk about that more tomorrow. I don't want to sit here and debrief it, but like that was crazy. I feel like Alid and Lorcan, I don't know, I'm I'm catching a vibe with them. Basically, Lorcan saved a lead from these like scary, crazy beasts that came to kind of like take her away. So they're kind of like teaming up. And I feel like that's kind of what's been going on with Empire of Storms. In terms of Tower of Dawn, we have a lot going on. I need to sit here and like look up a family tree of the family, the like royal family in Tower of Dawn, because I'm getting a little bit confused with all of them. But for the most part, I feel like I'm tracking. Like, I think with reinforcement, I'm gonna get it. It's been so much fun to be back with YRENE. YRENE has been the highlight of the tandem read for me so far, as well as being back with Manon, you guys know. But honestly, like, I'm loving every POV in chapter. I'm enjoying the tandem read and switching back and forth. I think it's really fun when Dorian's chapters would be like, Dorian was wondering how Chaol was doing. And then in Chaol's chapters, you know, Chaol is stressed, being like, I hope Dorian is okay. And the way that the chapters go back and forth with the tandem guide that I'm following, I feel like they're usually really close to each other, like those like moments and references, which is just like really cute and sweet. So overall, I'm having a good time. And I think if you have a good handle on all of the POVs and you don't mind kind of constantly switching, you would like it. Those are some of my like initial thoughts, but we're gonna dive a little bit deeper into like everything that's been going on probably tomorrow. I do have to go into the office tomorrow, so hopefully later in the day we can like do a full debrief. Until then, I'm just gonna keep reading and like listening to the audiobooks. I really love the audiobooks. I love the narrator. She does such a good job. So I was listening to those because I had therapy after work today and had to drive to therapy. So I was listening to those, which that was great. Honestly, therapy was good too. One of those rare, like not bad days of therapy. So we love it. But yeah, I'm kind of just ready to settle in for the night. I'm probably just going to read on my Kindle, and I'm really curious to see more of Chaol and YRENE. I think that's because the next chapter I have, yeah, it's an YRENE chapter. So yay, me being excited to go back to Tower of Dawn. I feel like anytime I'm in the mood to read, I just got to keep going. Anytime I've had a free moment or downtime today, I've been like, what are you doing? Get back to the tandem read. We do not have time to waste. It is like go time. Anyway, I'm gonna get back to it and I'll keep you guys posted on all my thoughts. Hello, my friends. It's actually been a couple days and I feel like I've done such a terrible job vlogging me doing this tandem read, because I think the tandem read, like while it is fun, it is slightly overwhelming, at least to both do the tandem read and to document it well. It's such a long combined book. I'm doing a lot of switching. There's just enough to say grace over, then add on top of it, like trying to check in with you guys every time something happens, which there's a lot happening. There's a lot going on. So I think I'm about a third of the way into the tandem read overall. When I look at my bookmark, I'm like right here towards the bottom of the front. So I'm pretty close to getting to be on the other side of the bookmark, but not quite, which is exciting. I feel like we have not talked much about like anything that's been going on though, because I've just been wanting to read and not yap on camera. I've just been like so locked in that I'm like, can't talk now. I'm busy with my friends. Let's start by talking about AELIN and the Terracin crew. AELIN in the beginning of the book is heading north. She's going to Orinth. That's the plan. I think I told you guys a little bit about this. There's this meeting where they were meant to meet with Lord Darrow, but he was like, listen, who are your allies? Like, why am I going to give you a bunch of troops? Perhaps he had a point. And AELIN has since said that he kind of has a point, as rough as that situation was. So her bright idea, which I'm still kind of like, have a question mark about, is to go to Skulls Bay and to go buddy up with Captain Rolfe. And as you remember from The Assassin's Blade, Captain Rolfe and Celaena Sardothian have some beef, but Captain Rolfe does not yet know that AELIN is Celaena, which is just delicious. We love that. Anyway, the whole crew is headed to Skulls Bay for some reason. Kind of crazy. I do think that's a little bit of where like the Empire of Storms piece of this all comes in, because we've got the ship on this massive ocean wave. So anyway, Rowan went to go save Dorian. AELIN is like stressed and missing Rowan. She and Aedion and Lysandra are on their way to the coast to get on a boat to go meet them in Skulls Bay. But Dorian and Rowan are ahead of schedule. They're already there. They're waiting on the rest of the Terracin crew. So the Terracin crew also, basically AELIN, the little folk, the little fairies and stuff, now that there's magic back, they were like leaving like messages for AELIN. I don't know if the gods were like working or talking through them, or if they were just doing it on their own intuition, but they left kind of like a sign to AELIN that she needed to go to this like temple of Brannon. So she goes there on her way like to the coast to get the ship down to Skulls Bay. And then she ends up like talking with Ghost Brannon, and they have a little kiki. So Ghost Brannon is basically like, hey girl, there is this like lock. You need to retrieve it so that you can put all the word keys into the lock to like seal it back up or something like that. And she was like, oh cool, so like where is it? And he's like, gotta go by. So there's something to do with like a mission kind of that we're needing to do based on what Brandon said, but I'm still waiting on some more information on that. So that's a little bit what's going on there. Basically, Manon saved Dorian and in the process killed a witch by saving him. Then Rowan shows up to save Dorian and he like suffocates 4 witches all at once. But that was also like low-key kind of Manon's fault, because if she hadn't like delayed everyone and been there and like been a kind of a problem there, they wouldn't have died either. So it was kind of just like not the greatest look for Manon, honestly. Anyway, Rowan saved Dorian and they're off. Also, they just got to Skulls Bay and 2 of Maeve's cadre are there. Who is it? Fenris and Gavriel. Gavriel, let's all remember, is Aedion's dad, so that's T. Basically, they've come, Gavriel and Fenris, to hunt Lorcan because there's like so much to all of this. Because Lorcan wasn't really supposed to be like searching for word keys. He's doing it because he thinks it's the right thing to do for Maeve, but Maeve was like, I want you to come home, and he like didn't. So Maeve's like, let's kill him. So she sent the other guys to go find Lorcan, and there's another guy, I can't remember his name, but he's like up in the north looking for Lorcan. So they've come here to find Lorcan and kill him, and they're like, yo, Rowan, since you're here in Skull's Bay, like, where's Lorcan? And Rowan's like, yeah, I'm not gonna tell you that, nor do I know. He doesn't really want to lead them there because if Lorcan has word keys, he doesn't want those to get back to Maeve. So that's kind of what's going on there. Speaking of Lorcan, he and AELIN are just kind of like roaming around the woods low-key. Like, I don't know. I don't really know where Lorcan's trying to go. Like, is he trying to go to Morath? Like, I'm not 100% sure. They basically just joined this like traveling carnival kind of thing because they don't want the monsters to like come back and find them. And they were like, if they send more things after us, they're gonna be looking for a lone girl or a pair of a girl and a guy. But if we're in this like group, then they'll have a harder time finding us. That's kind of the strategy. AELIN also has been like, Lorcan, you're gonna be my husband. Like, basically these people we're gonna make them think you're my husband because then they won't like assault me, which brilliant. It's been really, really cute actually seeing AELIN. She's been like really channeling her witches. She will like think about Manon and be like, I'm gonna act like Manon. Like, I'm just gonna be confident like Manon. I'm gonna talk like her. I'm gonna walk like her. And then she also thought about ASTERIN. ASTERIN has all this grace and confidence, and I'm gonna act like ASTERIN and be like her. It's so cute and sweet. I'm obsessed with it. So that's a little bit with AELIN and Lorcan. Not too much going on there. And last but certainly not least, Manon and the witches. I wish I was vlogging. I was actually listening to the audiobook in the car and I was like so tired. The thought did not occur to get my phone out and start vlogging, but I wish I caught it on tape when I was listening to the chapter where it was like, we're gonna need ASTERIN, your second, she's gonna be dying tomorrow. Also, rewind. When Manon gets back from the whole catastrophe, low-key catastrophe for her, when she gets back from Rifthold, Granny Blackbeak is there and we're like, oh frick, this is not great. So we're there, we're gonna have a little chat about like what went down. Then Manon shows up and she's like, oh, this isn't a little chat, this is a trial. This is a full-on trial. It's my trial. So she's like, okay, I'm gonna have to explain myself. When Manon was like, this is a trial, wish that I had caught that on camera because I was like, a trial. There's just been like a lot going on with them. I love them. As you know, they're like the reason I'm reading these books, honestly. If anything happens to Manon, like, and I have heard, I saw someone say that like one of their favorite characters in Throne of Glass dies, and I'm really concerned. But if anything happens to Manon in Kingdom of Ash, I will be throwing the book and the series like across the room. I will not tolerate that. Miss Manon rolls up and it is her trial, like I said. Crazy. So long story short, she low-key tries to kill her grandmother, and then her grandmother tries to kill her right back, and then they all have to flee. So that's where we've left off with the witches, and like it's been forever since we've been with them. I'm really ready to be back with them. But Empire of Storms is up next, like where I'm picking back up, and the next chapter is in fact an AELIN chapter. So, which it's been a while since we've heard from AELIN too, so I'm excited to check in on her because she's headed to Skull's Bay. And you know what just happened in Tower of Dawn? CHAOL just told YRENE that guess who's in Skull's Bay? It was a wild guess. He was like, there's no way AELIN would be in Skull's Bay. So let me just like throw that out there. Literally in Skull's Bay. Like, I was listening to the audiobook of this making dinner like an hour ago and I was like, no way. And that is what caused me to pause and prompted me to be like, I need to check in with my friends. It's been far too long. Anyway, that just happened, which was actually the most hilarious thing ever. But basically, Tower of Dawn so far, CHAOL was like pretty sad about his injury in the beginning, but now that he and YRENE are working together, which I'm obsessed with YRENE. I know I've said that once, but I'll say it a million times. But them working together has been like so much fun. Like, I am really, really enjoying both books, you guys. I probably need to do a better job explaining what's been going on in Tower of Dawn, but like, not gonna lie, like not that much has been going on, but like kind of in a good way. It's kind of like more relaxing, but like also high stakes. The main thing that happened was that a girl died in the library at the Torre Chesme, and I think that they were targeting YRENE, but they ended up getting the wrong girl, and that whole thing was like very scary. And I think there's some kind of like Vogue or like evil something in the southern continent who's trying to get her. Also, why has no one checked on Nesryn's family and sent a note? Like, actually, that's like kind of pissing me off. But anyway, Nesryn has gone and like linked up with her family in the city in the southern continent in Antica. She like goes and has dinner with them. CHAOL went and taught the girls self-defense, which was like so cute. And also like CHAOL had a whole like pity party for himself with that because the girls were like helping him off his horse. But CHAOL can ride a horse now and his spirits are so up because of that. And also he can wiggle his toes. So vibes are good. Like, the healing is starting. It seems like the more we like divulge and like are emotionally vulnerable with each other, aka CHAOL and YRENE, the more healing there is. It's like he has to like talk out his demons kind of metaphorically to like physically heal. I'm really enjoying Tower of Dawn so far. It's really, really good. There's a lot of like key players, but I'm just like not sure who's going to emerge as the most important one at this point. We've got Caution, who really wants to wife up YRENE, but she's like not into it. Nesryn and Sartaq are like totally flirting. I'm really ready for Nesryn and CHAOL to just like kind of break up so we can all move forward with our flirting with a clear conscience. They still need to tell the Coggin about what's been going on in Aurelia and all of the Valg and just like the threat to the world, but he's been caught up in grieving his dead daughter and helping his wife grieve as well. She, when we started the book, had just died. They were grieving her death when Nesryn and CHAOL got there, and her death was deemed a suicide, but some people think that it could have been like foul play, like something with the fog. Maybe they pushed her, maybe she like got driven insane. There's a lot more like mysteries and scheming and kind of like politics in this one, which I find really fascinating. So this is like a little bit more like interesting intellectual conversations and scheming, whereas this one is a little bit more like war games, moves and counter moves kind of vibes, and we love both. So I'm having a lot of fun going back and forth between the two. Also, it's just been so sweet with YRENE to see like how much AELIN has meant to her all these years, and how CHAOL and YRENE do not know that that is AELIN, like the same person. I just cannot wait till we like put the pieces together on that. It's gonna be so sweet. I know that was a really long-winded update, but I felt like I needed to let you know what was going on. So I'm gonna get back to reading. I'm gonna put the audiobook on and actually work on some stuff for my reading journal right now. I'm just gonna cut some stuff out. I'm prepping stuff for my June reset, which I also need to start filming soon. That video is probably out before this one, but I'm just like cutting some stuff out that I'm gonna put in my journal. So I'm gonna sit here and listen for a little bit and just cut some stuff out. All right, so I'm listening, and Manon was just like low-key dead in the forest, and ABRAXOS I think is gonna fly her to safety, but there was this really scary like bloodhound thing that came, and I'm not sure if it was like a vision she was having or if it was really there, but vibes were bad. Also, forgot to mention earlier with the Manon of it all, she's also a Croatian witch. Like there was a whole thing about like her dad, and she's also like the heir to the Croatian line, and when she killed that Croatian witch before, that was like her half-sister, and Granny Blackbeak like went and got her half-sister for her to kill because she's psycho. But while I've been sitting here, basically YRENE and CHAOL have figured out that there may be 3 Valg kings, and YRENE was asking CHAOL, and CHAOL was like, well, they're dead or they got banished to their other realm, and YRENE's like, who's to say they're not waiting in their other realm to be like let back in this one to like take over the world or whatever. And CHAOL was like, oh, you're right, that would be hecka bad. So he's kind of panicking, and they're kind of like speaking in code while she's like working on him. I'm imagining her just like massaging him and him screaming out in pain low-key, but they're like kind of whispering in between that. That's kind of what I imagined the physical therapy to be. Alright guys, still here, still working on my reading journal, just cutting stuff out, but I had to pause and say hi because Nesryn is gonna go with Sartaq and go out on the rooks and like go on an adventure with him to go like try to figure out what's going on and just kind of like explore and see if she can get any intel, insight, etc. She's feeling kind of bad because she saw CHAOL could move his toes like in his sleep at one point, and he still hadn't told her. CHAOL also can move his feet now. He's definitely treating her like a situationship. I am pro Nesryn go with Sartaq, but all that being said, she was feeling kind of bad because she's not going to tell CHAOL. I think she's just going to dip and maybe she'll send word, but she really shouldn't feel bad because CHAOL's also keeping his secrets. So like, I'm fine with it. Let's go, Nesryn. I'm here for this development. I'm like switching back and forth like every chapter right now. I have my bookmark right here where I'm just like following every time a new chapter starts on the audiobook. I'm like, wait, am I supposed to switch? And I check it, but we are like flip-flopping a lot right now. And what's happening in Empire of Storms at the end of the last chapter, AELIN was like sitting in, I think Rolfe's office maybe. AELIN has arrived in Skulls Bay, and I'm really excited to get back to that chapter. It's so good. It's just like ping-ponging back and forth. Everything's escalating. Both are so good. I'm just still here, still cutting stuff out. Probably will be for another hour. I can only listen to audiobooks and work on my reading journal when I'm just like cutting stuff out. Like these are just shapes that I'm cutting, you know? If I'm like writing something down or like updating the reading journal, actually I can't listen to audiobooks, but for this part I can. So okay, we're back with AELIN in Skulls Bay. What she's done is she's like pretended to be Selena this whole time. She's like, hey, old friend. And he's like, I hate her. Can we kill her, please? And then AELIN, pretending to be Selena, is like, let me introduce you to AELIN. And then in walks like a body double of AELIN. Like there's 2 of them. So he's like, okay, there's Selena, really AELIN. And then in comes this other AELIN, Lysandra. So funny. And he's like not believing it. He's like, AELIN didn't have a twin. Good one, girls. Good one. We got him. Honestly, guys, I love Selena. Like I kind of miss her. I feel like if we were still calling AELIN Selena, I would feel more attached to her. I know that's like maybe a hot take, but like I got attached to Celaena in the beginning. Ever since she's become AELIN, I think of her as this like otherworldly being. Like I know that AELIN is Celaena. I know this, but like I just miss Celaena. Does this make any sense at all? Does anyone else ever feel this way? Anyway, I'm having a ball. I'm giddy listening to this chapter. It is so much fun. It's so much fun to listen to this audiobook because a lot of times when I'm reading the books, I read ahead a little bit. Like I'll skip to the dialogue because my brain just jumps and then I have to go back and read the whole page. But I like will spoil things for myself. But it's so much fun to listen to it because it's just kind of slow. I'm unassuming. Like I'm just working on my little craft and then all of a sudden like something will happen and I'm like, oh my God, I'm just enjoying my little audiobook craft night and having so much fun listening to this. So, Rolfe, you ruined my fun. Of course I don't have a twin. Fenris is gagged about Lysandra being a shifter. Rolfe's embarrassed. And like every time the chapter changes, I'm having to check. I'm on chapter 28. Oh, Sam mentioned. Just said the world will be saved and remade by the dreamers. Rolfe was saying like y'all are such idealists, such dreamers, such young people, like you don't know the hardships of the world, because they're like basically like, Rolfe, we'll just make you pirate king if you ally with us. It'd be great, like you can be king of the pirates, we love it. And he's like, so a 19-year-old can just like make me pirate king? And Dorian's like, I will too, like I'm with her. And he's like, y'all are just such idealists. Rolfe let out a low laugh. The talk of young idealists and dreamers. The world, AELIN said, will be saved and remade by the dreamers, Rolfe. Wow. Thesis of the book. Love it. We've been just hanging with CHAOL and YRENE for a while. And one thing I wanted to say with CHAOL and YRENE and the healing process. Hold on. I feel like this whole plot line of them like fighting against the Valg darkness that's kind of like poisoned him. It's very akin to Heir of Fire and Celaena / AELIN kind of having to fight off some of her demons and her worst memories in order to kind of fight the Valg and like come into herself as Fae. And towards the end of that book when she's fighting the Valg, the way that like they fight is they like show you your worst memories, but the way that like YRENE is fighting to heal Kill by like sharing and thinking of some of her most like joyous moments or memories is just like so tender and sweet, and the way that they're like sharing that together to heal him is just like so sweet and wholesome. Free Nesryn of the shackles of CHAOL. Like love him, but they're just like, they're not meant to be, you know, and that's fine. But I think that if you're like an Heir of Fire girly, I could totally see why you might be a Tower of Dawn girly too. It's just that same vibe of like sludging through your own personal trauma to like get to the other side and get to a better place. So that is my tandem read update for the night. I'm gonna go just keep reading until I fall asleep, and I will chat with you guys some more later.
I'm running errands, but Nesryn and Sartaq, okay, we're at a red light, are going to check out the tower thing with like the Fae or whatever. Like, can I explain it to you? Probably not. Do I understand it? I think I do. That's the whole of Throne of Glass with me, at least these later books. But anyway, I digress. Nesryn and Sartaq went to go check out this like booby-trapped whole area where the Fae used to like plan to fight the Stygian spiders. So there are Stygian spiders in the southern continent. It's been a minute since we've talked, but they went to go like investigate this like Fae tower where they would fight to try to see if they could learn anything. And it is just like laden with booby traps. Like Nesryn saves Sartaq, Sartaq saves Nesryn. And they see this like old Fae writing written in blood. And they're like, oh, should we copy that down so we could like maybe have someone decode it for us later? And then there's this voice and it's like, you don't need to copy it down. I can tell you what it means. It means look up. And up above is this like massive Stygian spider, and that is where the chapter left off. So yeah, I am gagged. You know, the whole Nesryn plotline is actually like really, really crazy, and I feel like it's like world building in a way that's been really fun, like to see her go off with Sartaq to this like other part of the southern continent. So I'm enjoying that a lot, and I'm also now in part 2 of Tower of Dawn, but I'm not yet to part 2 of Empire of Storms. But I think I'm close to like halfway done with the tandem read, which is exciting. But yeah, I'm just gonna keep listening to my audiobook in the car.
But there was nothing to do as the spider advanced, fangs slipping from her jaws. When I am done with you, Ryther, I shall make your birds scream. Then the spider lunged. The spider slammed into the stone torture table, as if she'd leap off to pounce on them. The spider shrieked, black blood spurting, and
I feel like the rook is gonna have to come in and like sacrifice himself.
Slammed her legs between the wall and the stone table, blocking their path. Not Kadara, but something large, armed with claws and fangs. A gray wolf. As large as a pony, and utterly ferocious. Sartaq wasted no time.
A gray wolf?
They sprinted for the archway and stairs beyond, not caring how many bolts or arrows shot from the walls, as they outraced even the traps.
Okay.
Tearing up the stairs.
Nesryn marked safe. Who's the wolf?
And when Falcon waved on his feet before, a hand pressed to the bloody wound in his ribs. Nesryn breathed. You're a shapeshifter.
Falcon! Hold on, we need to pause. Guys, Falcon just killed the spider, and apparently he's a shapeshifter. But the thing is like, how did he get his powers back as a shapeshifter before killing the spider? Because Wouldn't he need to kill the spider to get his like youth? Maybe he just lost his youth, but he still had his powers. But he was a shapeshifter, so he came in as a wolf and killed the spider. This is the same guy from Assassin's Blade who talked to Selena, this merchant guy who had the Stygian spider silk, and he's come back around. And if you know me, if you've watched my videos about Throne of Glass, you know I love Assassin's Blade. Assassin's Blade and Queen of Shadows are maybe my two favorites. I know that's a hot take. A lot of people don't really enjoy Assassin's Blade that much. I loved it. Something about a short story is going to do it for me every single time. And I just found like the lore and the world building really interesting in that. Anyways, just the way that like all the Assassin's Blade stuff has connected throughout the whole rest of the series has just been like a little treat for me every single time because I love that book. And the Stygian spider stuff is like so crazy and I have so much fun with that. So anyway, I really am enjoying Tower of Dawn, guys. The politics are so much more compelling to me. Also in Empire of Storms, we've like not talked to Manon or like a lead. Like I feel like we are not getting enough of either of them for my liking, personally. I want more Manon and more lead. Okay guys, I'm sitting in traffic, very Atlanta. I don't have like a thing for my phone up here, so I know this angle is like maybe not the best, but whatever, it's kind of fun. I finished chapter 35 of Tower of Dawn and now I'm going back to Empire of Storms and I'm going to be listening / reading Empire of Storms for a long time, like a lot of chapters. We are not going to be switching back and forth for a while now, which makes me feel like some stuff is about to go down. So wish me luck. I think we're about to have like a battle or something. Like it's just giving, I don't know, something bad and big is about to happen. I don't know how we're gonna have a battle because there's no army really at this point, but I'm trying to think about anything else that's happened. Like AELIN and Lorcan are low-key, like I feel like they're gonna end up together. Lorcan's really warming up to her. And it also seems like all of the cadre like don't really like Maeve, even though they're blood oaths to her. I'm like, why'd y'all take this blood oath? Like, I think a lot of them were kind of coerced, but I don't know. They don't seem that into it, so that's great for us. And those are most of my tandem read updates for now. So I'm gonna get back to Empire of Storms. I feel like it's gonna get crazy. Like, everyone's in Skulls Bay. Insert the greetings from Skulls Bay postcard that AELIN should have sent to CHAOL, but I digress. Now, let's get back to Empire of Storms. Okay, it's been literally 2 minutes, but I put Empire of Storms back on, and living in Atlanta is just sitting in traffic. I'm at a red light, so hi. Anyway, basically Erawan is sending like all the troops to essentially sack Eelway, but isn't actually doing it. But he's, I guess, sending it as a warning, like that he could, because he knows it's personal to AELIN, which, first of all, that's just messed up. But second of all, AELIN is sitting here trying to figure out her game plan. She's looking at a map, and then she sees BRIARCLIFF, and she's like, BRIARCLIFF, why does that ring a bell? Ansel of BRIARCLIFF. Speaking of Assassin's Blade baddies, I need Ansel back in my life. And is Ansel about to come in? Because I'm gonna be so excited. I have been waiting with bated breath on Ansel's return. I'm hoping she's gonna be real nice considering Selena spared her and didn't shoot that arrow at her in Assassin's Blade. I'm hoping she's gonna come to our girl's side and she's gonna help her fight the Vogue. But anyway, I just want to say BRIARCLIFF mentioned, she didn't even say Ansel yet. She mentioned BRIARCLIFF. So I just had to pause and be like, guys, Ansel.
Her gaze dragged down, south, to the Red Desert, where another life debt, many life debts, waited for her to claim them. This just shows how utterly outmatched you are. He chewed over her words. The Mycenaean fleet is little more than a myth, a bedside tale. You are the heir of the Mycenaean people, AELIN said. And I have come to claim the debt you owe my bloodline on that account, too. The Mycenaeans are gone, Rolfe said flatly. I don't think so. I think they have been hiding here, in the Dead Islands, for a long, long time. Did Sam die still pining after you? Or did you finally stop treating him like filth?
Keep Sam's name out your mouth.
She looked slowly to find Rowan with his hand around Rolfe's neck. The captain pressed onto the map. The figures scattered everywhere. Rowan's snarling teeth close to ripping off Rolfe's ear. Fenris smirked a bit. I told you to choose your words carefully, Rolfe. AELIN watched as black, darker than the ink that had been etched there, spread across his fingers, to his palms. Black such as only the Vogue could bring. There was no doubt now that the map worked. She said to her companions, we leave. Now.
So I'm finally sitting down for a proper update. It's been a couple days and I have not made much progress on the tandem read. I think this reading sprint is going to get me through the end of part 1. So I wanted to sit down and read it together. I've been waiting to read it for like days now because I didn't want to just like listen to the end of part 1. Basically the Vogue just got to Skulls Bay and I didn't want to read that in the car on audio and like not be able to sit here and talk to you guys about what's going on. So I'm about 70 pages away from part 2 and we're going to sit here and read it together. I have an hour. I'm hoping I can get through it in an hour. I feel like things are heating up. Like the vibes in Skulls Bay are just so delicious because like everyone is there. Everyone has an opinion on each other. Like everyone's clashing, but also like working together. And AELIN is kind of like in her Selena energy. I just like Selena. Like, I'm sorry. I love her Selena vibes. My main complaint with Empire of Storm so far is like there hasn't been enough of the witches. There has not been enough of my girl, Miss Manon. She was in the beginning, but then like she's pretty much been down and out. Homegirl has just been like kind of dead in a ditch hanging out with ABRAXOS ever since, and I'm ready to see my girl. So also, I just got this t-shirt. It says Manon on it. I wanted to get a Manon shirt because she's my favorite, like by a country mile, but I may have to save it and wear it for when we start Kingdom of Ash because I think that would be like extra fun and special. I don't know. Anyway, let's sit here and read, see what happens in Skulls Bay. I really need to quit underestimating Lysandra. It's not that I underestimate her so much as like my brain just doesn't go there. Like I kind of just forget that she can shapeshift, but oh my God, Lysandra is a sea dragon. It's everything. Also, the way that like the prophecy was like, the Mycenaeans will need to see the sea dragon before they'll come. And then it's just like, okay, well, we'll make one. It's poetic. It's just cool to see her be so powerful too, honestly. 2 sea wyverns against 1 sea dragon. Oh, I'm scared. Okay, so we all know I'm not the biggest Rowan girl. Like, I feel like I just wasn't immediately connected with Rowan. I didn't have anything against Rowan, but I wasn't like obsessed with Rowan. But Rowan is really growing on me in this book. Rowan's fingers slid to cup her jaw, his thumb brushing her cheek. We draw out our power, slow and steady. Like, okay. I'm starting to see the vision. Okay. So there are 3 massive sea wyverns, but there were also 2 baby sea wyverns. The baby sea wyverns were Lysandra's size, sea dragon size. So Lysandra saw these sea wyverns. She's like, okay, bet. Let's go toe to toe. She kills both these little sea wyverns who are her size because she's a boss. Turns corner in the ocean. 3 massive sea wyverns, the parents of the babies who she just killed. It's a bad time. This is bad. And the adults were thrice her size. The sea wyverns that Rolfe had claimed would go to the ends of the earth to slaughter whoever killed their offspring. Only being in the heart of the continent might save you, but even then, waterways would never be safe. Cool. Great. This feels like a plotline that's going to come back up, even if Lysandra doesn't die in this moment. And Aedion is stressing TF out because obviously he has a crush on Lysandra because she's super cool. Vibes are really, really bad. Aedion's stressing though, and it's kind of sweet because Gavriel's kind of like trying to not like comfort him, but he's just like standing there waiting with him to like see about Lysandra. But yeah, Aedion is stressed TF out, as am I. I relate to Aedion in that regard. Like and for ABRAXOS, we clap and we cheer. So if you don't know what just happened at the end of part 1, if you don't recall, ABRAXOS just came and like delivered Manon to the allies, to our group on the boat heading out to go. I guess they're going to Eelway. Queen Elena like came to Dorian and AELIN in like a vision, whatever, from her tomb. Like the connection was spotty because they weren't in Rifthold, but whatever. She came to them in a dream, in a hallucination. However she does it. And she was like, I'm so sorry. Like I was kind of the one who like messed with the lock and I didn't realize you were going to need it. The lock, I guess for the word keys or whatever. I used the lock to like lock Erawan in the tomb all those years ago. But like, I think you're going to need to get the lock to like reseal the portal between worlds. I don't know. I'm like, we're figuring it out. I'm trying not to get hung up on the details here because I just feel like it'll work itself out. But essentially the crew is departing Skulls Bay and they're headed for the stone marshes down like kind of in Eelway. Anyway, let's go back to what just happened though, because Manon Blackbeak tumbled from her saddle, falling through the wind and spindrift and hit the water. Manon has arrived. ABRAXOS just like dumped her in the water by their boat that's like heading out of the Dead Islands. Here, please, y'all take her. Please do something. Heal my girl. And I believe this is going to be the birth of the allyship between AELIN and Manon. And like that actually will make my heart sing. I've been needing to see Manon, as you guys know. So like, thank God. So I have another 100 pages to go before I switch back to Tower of Dawn now that I'm in part 2. So I'm probably going to put on the audiobook and go for a walk, I think, and try to get through the next 100 pages or so. And then we'll check back in when it's time to switch back over to Tower of Dawn. Hi guys, I'm back from my walk. The microphone is charging, so I hope the audio is okay. But I just want to let you know, I was listening to the audiobook and just now we had Dorian say, hello witchling, and a kind of sick and healing Manon was like, hello princeling, and my heart just kind of exploded into a million pieces. So wanted to let you know that happened. Also, like, I'm obsessed with ALIN and lorcan. Love them. Like, I actually love them. They're kind of like having therapy together, which is nice. Their whole plot line is so entertaining. It's like fake dating, therapy. He just like killed a bunch of like Ilkin and they rolled up now with wings, so that's concerning. And he learned her real name and we're progressing there. So those are my updates from my walk. I'm gonna shower, dry my hair, keep listening to the audiobook, and I'll keep you posted. But yeah, Manon is kind of like prisoner on this ship, but they are like nursing her back to health. So, and ABRAXOS is just being like a cutie patootie, which we love. So not that much has been going on. It's just kind of been like everyone's vibing on the boat. And Manon and Dorian are definitely getting on. Like they're flirting. Rowan is being like a very territorial of AELIN because they finally kind of like christened their relationship at the end of part 1. So we basically just figured out that Erawan knows that AELIN has a word key because she gave herself away in Skull's Bay, because it was very obvious that she had a word key because of the kind of like power. Also when Deanna, I guess, like spoke through her, it made it obvious. So I guess that got back to Erawan, and now he knows that she for sure has a key. So like, I feel like Erawan knew she had a key. Like, I don't know. The whole AELIN having a key / Lorcan having a key is stressing me out because we can't lose that one. And I really don't want to go on a quest to deal with like getting that back. But I do want Lorcan to go to Morath and like F everyone up, you know what I mean? So maybe it could be fun. Okay, so we just heard the phrase "nameless is my price" once again from someone in the cadre. I can't remember who was saying it, but he was saying that's the cost of Maeve's allegiance or something like that. I don't know exactly, but basically what I'm picking up on, if you do recall, in my first Throne of Glass vlog for Crown of Midnight, Bobby Yellowlegs said to Selena, "Nameless is my price." And I repeated that like several times, and I was like, this is gonna come back around. I don't know what this means, but nameless is my price like is gonna mean something. But I'm pretty sure nameless is like a kind of a mark also. Like I think that AELIN is marked with like the nameless mark, and that it's like also part of like her bloodline in a sense or something. So I don't know if she and Maeve share that, or like, I don't know. I'm still figuring it out, but AELIN seems very upset to learn that nameless is my price basically seems to mean maybe like being subservient to Maeve. I'm really concerned about the Maeve of it all. I feel like she has been eerily absent from the plot for the past 2 books, and I'm really interested to see when she's gonna pop back up. She seems pretty nefarious. Like, she does not seem like a good person, and I think she's very threatened by AELIN. Anyway, AELIN is like actually like having a panic attack now that she's heard like the nameless is my price thing. And so she asks Manon, like, are your kind oracles, like, can you see the future? She's freaking out because Manon's like, yeah, low key, like Bobby Yellowlegs was like a really good oracle. Like she knew what she was saying, kind of a thing. And so AELIN's like, okay, great. I'm gonna go like blow up into flames in my room for a sec. I'll be back. So that's what's going on, and it's tea, because I've been waiting on the nameless is my price thing to come back around, and it finally is. So also, I kind of thought I was going to be enjoying AELIN and Manon being in the same room for more than like a page. And while I am enjoying it, it's not making me like as giddy as I thought. Like part of what I liked about the witches was getting all of the politics. Like I liked knowing what was going on over there. And I think I also really liked the dynamic of the witches as the 13. And don't get me wrong, I still love Manon. She's still my favorite, but she's kind of just like not herself without her girls. You know what I mean? It's not as delicious to like be back with Manon because my girl is just like, she's down, you know, like she, like the vibes are bad for her right now. I'm in my audiobook phase right now. It's making the tandem read feel less daunting to just like sit around and like listen to it rather than to like sit down and like try to read it, because it's just so long that it's overwhelming. Guys, I'm literally working on my reading journal right now. Hello. I'm recording for my June reset video. So, but I can't move the camera. So, hello. CHAOL just stood. He just stood, and there's a lot going on in Tower of Dawn right now. I was listening to the audiobook while I was working on this, and I'm filming 2 videos at once. So yeah, just crazy things are happening. CHAOL was trying to talk to the Coggin and be like, please, like you have to fight in this war. And then he was all sad boy hours because the Coggin was like, no, and like made people like wheel him out of there. And he was like, I felt so helpless. I couldn't even beg for his help on my knees. He was like, I just wanted to stand. I felt so at a disadvantage, but I knew I had it in me. Like I could talk to him. It didn't matter. And it was just like a really wholesome kind of like moment for CHAOL. But then he also was just like super upset when he got kicked out. So then he went to go talk to YRENE, and YRENE was kind of like rage baiting him into standing up, which is just iconic from YRENE. CHAOL said some really mean things, but he's like, YRENE, you know I didn't mean it. Like I meant it about myself. And now CHAOL's standing and they're making out, and it's like literally the best thing ever. So anyway, that's what's happening while I'm working on my reading journal, and just wanted to say obsessed with them, like, and so happy. It's a very exciting update. So I just had to pause the reading journal for a second and just like say hello and show you in real time my thoughts, even though the camera is not on my face. So anyway, this is my chaotic little update about CHAOL and YRENE. I'm obsessed with them. All right, guys, tomorrow I am leaving to go on vacation, so I really am trying to finish the tandem read today. It's just about 3 o'clock, and I have 400 pages to go. There has been some crazy stuff going on. So I know you saw with my reading journal update that CHAOL can walk, and YRENE like rage baited him into walking, and they're like in love, and it's amazing. So I'm loving that. Can't wait to get back to Tower of Dawn to read more about everything going on with them. Nesryn is still like kind of trying to figure out these Fae Watchtower things with Sartaq. So that's kind of what's going on in Tower of Dawn. And then in terms of Empire of Storms, I feel like in part 2 of Empire of Storms, ALIN and Lorcan have taken on a bigger role, kind of like we're just checking in with them a lot more, but they are on their way. They're like in the Stone Marshes now, I think. So I feel like they're about to run into AELIN and the whole crew. But AELIN and the whole crew were kind of like walking through the Stone Marshes. Manon had to leave ABRAXOS behind. Like he was gonna like tip, I feel like, erawan off of like where they were. AELIN didn't want want erawan to know Manon was alive and well. We're gonna link back up with him in like 4 days, but that was kind of sad. And now we're getting like a ton of lore drop about the Eye of Elena, which is really like the eye of the goddess or something. And like that Eye of Elena is really the symbol of like the witches. Basically, Manon was giving us story time about kind of like the curse on the witches. Okay, I'm back from getting my nails done. I got them done all fun and striped for the beach, but that's not what this video is about. The main crazy thing that happened while I was getting my nails done when I was listening to the audiobooks was in Tower of Dawn, which was that Kadara, which is Sartaq's rook, got caught in the web, the scary web, by the southern continent version of the Stygian spider. I forget what they call it exactly. Where we've left off now with Tower of Dawn is that Nesryn and Sartaq are like running for their lives away from the scary big southern continent spiders. So that was a crazy thing. Basically, there was like a little bait rook kind of that was like kind of trapped. It was a trap, so Kadara was like gonna save it. It was like a hatchling, and so Kadara goes down to kind of like rescue it and then gets caught and almost gets eaten by the spiders. So luckily everyone was marked safe so far, but Nesryn and Sartaq are on the run. So that's the main thing that's happened. Now I'm back to Empire of Storms. It is just like one thing after another because we're in Empire of Storms now, and there are 500 Ilkin descending on our crew that is in the Stone Marsh or whatever it's called. And Lorcan just sent his warning signal to Rowan. So Rowan turned into hawk form. He flew up and he was like, and he saw the aerial fleet of 500 flying Ilkin coming in. And so the whole crew's like, frick, we gotta fight them. Which there's like literally like 8 of them versus 500 Ilkin. Like, okay. Aedion's kind of being a little bitch right now. So I don't know. He's just kind of like stressed and scared and blaming AELIN, and we're not into that. And those are the main updates. I'm reading on my Kindle right now just because I'm trying to make some progress. I'm trying to stay locked in, and my Kindle just helps me stay locked in. So AELIN is kind of like, yo, I could use the word key and like kind of explode everything up just like what I did in Skull's Bay. But Rowan's like, no, it's too dangerous. I don't want any of the other like gods to come through you again. Like it makes you too vulnerable kind of a thing. And so Rowan's like, no, absolutely not. Yeah, Aedion and AELIN are definitely, they're fighting like siblings. Where are all our allies, AELIN? Where are our armies? All we have to show for our efforts is a pirate lord who might very well change his mind if he hears about this from the wrong lips. Time. She had needed time. If we're gonna stand a chance, Rowan said, we need to get into position. Rowan is the babysitter that we all need. Like, Rowan has really grown on me in this book. He's like one of the only ones making sense. Also, Dorian is so useless. I do love Dorian as a person. He's a precious gem of a man, but like he is not very helpful. He's just kind of there. Like he's very Ken coded. You know what I mean? Like I honestly don't really know what Dorian has to offer at this point. Like we love him. He's a sweetie pie, but like I don't know. He's not really doing a whole lot. Dorian's basically like, I will not be his prisoner again. And he says that he wants to die before being taken prisoner. He's team Elide, you know? He and Elide both. And Manon's like, I'll shoot you if they go to take you. And AELIN's like, no, you won't. She said, none of you are being taken prisoner. Where is ABRAXOS? I guess I'm glad ABRAXOS isn't here because I think I'd be stressed about him if he were. Okay, so basically AELIN is like digging deep into her power and she's gonna try to just like explode all the Ilkin kind of. Like her power is just about to be like a fiery wake. And Elide and Lorcan are gonna like kind of be caught in the crossfire. Like they might get kind of killed with all of the Ilkin because they're like running to like help the crew / just like meet up with the crew. And they're kind of like running into the chaos a little bit. And they sent the warning, but then Lorcan realizes this. So he like hits the ground, covers a leaf, puts like a protection bubble over them with his magic or what's left of it. But he had been like kind of wasting his magic, not wasting, but like spending it by sending those warning signals. And now he's kind of stressed because he's like, I shouldn't have wasted my magic on that. Now it's gonna get us killed. And obviously now Fenris and Gavriel are like, oh my God, Lorcan's here. Let's kill him. Not to be a hater, but we did get a line from Elide just now. Elide said, what do we do now? When the like kind of the fire explosion from AELIN stopped and all of the Ilkin are dead. And anytime I see the line, what do we do now? I just think of Reese Witherspoon in that one clip where she's like, have you ever seen a woman in a crisis situation say, what do we do now?
Yeah, but wait, I get to that part where the girl turns to the guy and she goes, what do we do now? Now, do you know any woman in any crisis situation who has any woman in any crisis who has absolutely no idea what to do?
I just always get a little frustrated with the what do we do now cliche, especially when a woman is saying it. Like, I'm just kind of like, all right, we could have written this a little better, you know? Okay, feeling stressed because Gavriel and Fenris are trying to kill Lorcan, and Alida's like, no, actually, guys, like, what if you didn't? Like, it'd be great if we could just, like, all be friends. I don't think Lorcan dies, though, because Lorcan hasn't had his so Lorcan did moment. Like, whatever that is, whenever that happens, he can't die till we get the so Lorcan did. He's got a little plot armor based on that famous quote. This is, like, the Disney Channel crossover episode right now. Like, everyone is linking up. You look, oh my God, I'm crying. I really love Elide. You look so much like your mother, AELIN said. Oh. And at last, AELIN said to Elide, she bought me time. I think I put on waterproof mascara, actually, so we're actually doing okay today. AELIN's hand began shaking.
I am alive today because of your mother. Your mother told me to tell you that she loves you very much. Those were her last words to me. Tell my AELIN I love her very much. Oh, and it's like aedion and AELIN and AELIN all like being there together also, like these children of the north. It's just like, it's really sweet. Tears stung AELIN's eyes. She saw the white hair first, then the golden eyes, and AELIN sobbed as Manon emerged, smiling faintly. And then AELIN saying, I survived Majesty because of him, talking about Lorcan. Then she pointed with her chin to Manon, and because of her, I'm here because of both of them. And it's just like really sweet too and wholesome how like these characters who we think are kind of like evil in the book, it's never black and white like that. Obviously there's nuance, but the way that like Lorcan and Manon and Kaltain too all played a role in getting a lead here and getting this word key to AELIN is just like, it's really, oh, it's just the payoff is just so good. And like this chapter is, oh yeah, and then she says, I'm here because of Kaltain Rompier. She said to remember your promise to punish them all. AELIN turned to Manon, I lay claim to her, which blood in her veins or no, she is Lady of Paranth and she is mine. Manon said, and if I claim her for the Blackbeaks or the Crocans? AELIN purred. Now AELIN's like, what is going on? Manon's a Crockett? What was she even doing here? And where was ABRAXOS? All right, the vibes have gone from great to worse because Manon is explaining to everyone about these witch mirrors and how they're a weapon and how Baba Yellowlegs was meeting with the king to talk to them about the witch mirrors. They've been making towers, enormous yet capable of being hauled across battlefields, lined with those mirrors, for Erawan to use with his powers to incinerate your armies in a few blasts. But then where the lock is, it's like there's one of those witch mirrors on top of the chest that's holding the lock, and Dorian is like, I have a bad feeling about this, like I just really don't think this is like good. And then Manon's like, yo, well that's a witch mirror on top of it, but she's saying whatever this mirror is, I'm not sure what it's meant for, what it can even do. Also with the witch mirrors, they can like see the future and the past. It's Ansel. Looks like you made it on time after all. Anytime we get an Assassin's Blade moment, it's delicious. And Ansel being here is everything I wanted and more. Ansel of Briarcliff, Queen of the Wastes. Where's ABRAXOS? Guys, this is giddy. I'm having a glorious time. Ansel's doing everything I needed Ansel to do. Also, her like southern twang, like the way that her dialogue is written, it's like she has like a southern accent kind of. She goes, I'm assuming you lot know how bossy Her Majesty is, but I followed the instructions.
I think the spiders just got sartaq.
Nesryn sobbed, tugging and tugging. Sartaq grunted and let out a pained curse. I'm stuck. But Sartaq's face went calm, so calm. He did not move, not an inch. I loved you before I ever set eyes on you, he said. Please, Nesryn wept. Sartaq's hand tightened on hers. I wish we'd had time. A hiss behind him, a rising bulk of shining black. Then the prince was gone, ripped from her hands, as if he'd never been. I kind of was just thinking they were going to get out of this, because I feel like there's just so many times where there are crazy schemes happening, and like everyone makes it out fine, and you're like, I don't know how that happened, but okay, sure. And I kind of thought this was going to be one of them. I'm also just like worried about my girl Nesryn, because like she was about to be like queen of the Khaggan, and now like it's back to square one. My other question is, will Kadara take Nesryn as her new rider? Also, can we talk about how the Khaggan is not going to be able to take the loss of another child in such a short amount of time? Because that's kind of crazy. And will he blame Nesryn? Question mark. Maybe Sartaq isn't dead? Not me after all of that. Oh, she's just letting the Karen Kui take her? Girl, what are we doing? This is quite the situation we're in. Oh my god. Nesryn awoke to a sharp biting. I am very concerned with this plan. The spiders, though they are so evil, they're deliciously evil and fun. Why are they giving like Sanderson sisters? Do you know what I mean? All right, Sartaq is still alive. This is why I don't read the physical book. I just skip to the end of the chapter. So, Maeve is, in fact, Queen of the Volg. Great. That's so great. That's wonderful news. It's amazing that, like, the whole cadre is just sired to the Queen of the Volg. This is just stunning news. Because the Karen Kui are like, we are here to wait for our queen, her dark majesty, to return at last. And so Nesryn's like, not Erawan? Like, I would think the Dark King would be who you serve. The spider spat. Not him. Never him. Then who? We wait for the Queen of the Volg, who in this world calls herself Maeve. But the thing is like, if the spiders are like, not him, never him, I'm like, so do Maeve and Erawan have beef? Because that could be good for the cause, you know? Like, maybe they'll just, like, fight each other. And now I'm supposed to change back over to Empire of Storms. Okay. I'm wondering if you read Empire of Storms first, like, how did it go learning that Maeve was Queen of the Volg for you? because I'm assuming we're gonna learn it in Empire of Storms, but like I really enjoyed learning it from the Karen Kui. That gagged me, and I'm glad to learn this over here in Tower of Dawn. Me not knowing what the other option is, but that was way more surprising coming from Tower of Dawn. Okay, we're back to Empire of Storms. I'm on chapter 60, and honestly, AELIN and ANSELLLL are having bottles of wine, and I just need to like enjoy the moment, you know, because it's probably about to get really bad. AELIN braced her forearms on the slick table. Here's the dramatic entrances. Hell yeah, sister. Ain't that right? I love how Lysandra's just like chilling there in ghost leopard form. Like, Lysandra is both the most serious and also the most whimsical person in this whole series. This is insane though. Like, AELIN, ANSELLLL, Lysandra, Manon, and Alid all linking up, having a kiki, having some wine and cheese over dinner on the boat. Like, what? Literally, what could be better? Okay, so vibes are bad because ANSELLLL has let us know that Maeve is the one who was setting those fires on the coast, like in Eelway. Did I even tell you about that? Basically, Maeve was setting fire to Eelway and making it look like it was AELIN. So she's trying to kind of undermine AELIN, make her look like a tyrant, not a savior, like a threat worth banding against rather than allying with. And then they're like, well, okay, so she's reached our shores. Like, she is here in Aurelia, but then like, where is she actually? A glance at Fenris and Gavriel revealed them already shaking their heads in silence answer to Rowan's pointed look. AELIN said, we leave at first light. Also, Rowan's asking, like, why did you forgive ANSELLLL? AELIN crouched again, because she made a bad choice, trying to heal a wound she couldn't ever mend, trying to avenge the people she loved. I just love, like, the full circleness that we have going on is just incredible. Sometimes I wish I knew every thought in that head, every scheme and plot. Then I remember how much it delights me when you reveal it, usually when it's most likely to make my heart stop dead in my chest. Literally, me, the reader. I took my makeup off because it was overstimulating me. We're still here in Tandem Readland. Oh, right. Rowan's like gone and spoken to Enda. Oh, because Maeve's forces are here, right? So Maeve's forces are just like all rolled up, and they basically are like, AELIN, you have a day to surrender or we kill you all. And that's kind of like where we're at. Falcon is Lysandra's uncle. Oh my god. They are kin. They are shapeshifters together. It's a family trait. I don't know why people say this book is boring. Like, actually, how do you say that? I have not been bored once. Okay, time to switch again. This is crazy. We're back with my girl Manon, thank God. Okay, so remember when I said, what is Dorian good for? I would like to amend my statement because he is good at solving riddles. Who knew? Deanna's words, flame and iron. So flame is AELIN, iron is Manon. Flame and iron together bound, holding hands, merge into silver, go into the traveling witch mirror thing to learn what must be found. Good work, Dorian. Like, props. So Dorian's like, okay, go into the traveling mirror, figure out what's going on because we need to figure out how you can use the 2 word keys that we have safely so that we can defeat Maeve's armada and like get out of this situation. You know what I mean? Wait, oh my God, I'm so excited for this. We're going to get like backstory. I mean, this is kind of a plot device for world building and lore dumping. Speaking of plot devices for world building and lore dumping, how's Mort doing? We haven't checked in on Mort. I would like to circle back to Mort before the series is over. I know we've been like, you know, all over the continent and stuff, and like we have bigger fish to fry, but like, did Mort survive the blast of the castle? Like, I just think we need to circle back. Wait a minute. AELIN and Manon just like vanished into the glass and now it's like we're over to a lead. Why? Guys, Irene, this is so cute. Stop. So oxidized that the writing was nearly impossible to read, but Irene read the name there, Jaffa Towers. As she read that name, the date from 200 years ago, a Towers woman, even now, even so far from home, she had never once been alone. I like this book better than Empire of Storms. I'm sorry. This one's so good. Jaffa. Irene mouthed the name, a hand on her heart. Feeding. The Vogg's power had been feeding off him. Yes, the darkness above seemed to say. Enter where you fear to tread. Not the void lurking within him, but the void within herself. The one that had started the day those soldiers had gathered around her cottage, had hauled her out by her hair into the bright grasses. Oh, smiling, Irene reached out a hand to her ancestor's belt and rang it. And then now I have to change back over to Empire of Storms. Like, fine, if I must. I guess we do want to see what's going on with AELIN and Manon inside the mirror, so I suppose it's time to change. These books are so heavy when you get to the end, but I still have like 100 pages in both of them. It's literally midnight and I'm leaving to go on vacation tomorrow and I haven't packed. It's gonna take me like at least 3 hours to get through the rest, like all of the rest of these 200 pages. I can't stay up till 3 a.m. I can't. Hello, good morning. I'm whispering because Anders, my boyfriend, is still asleep and I don't want to wake him up. But I fell asleep last night. I just like gave up. But this morning I woke up, took a shower and dried my hair. And so I was listening to the audiobooks while I was doing that. And oh my God, Kale went through his like final boss therapy session. He really had to learn to like work through a lot of the feelings that he had and like love himself. And he and Irene are just, oh, I'm obsessed with them. Kale is not like, I don't even think in my top 3 characters. I find myself just defending him because I know so many people don't like him. He might not even be top 5, honestly, because there's so many amazing girlies and like the girlies come first in my opinion, but he's one of my favorite guys. Tower of Dawn really has been CHAOL's Heir of Fire, and I feel like it's really kind of beautiful the way that his story is kind of mirrored AELIN's in a way, and he's been able to have like more compassion for himself. I don't know, it just was like beautiful, and I was kind of like, it was a little cheesy, but I was sobbing. And I basically just need to finish Empire of Storms. Like I have no more switching really to do. And then I need to finish Tower of Dawn. So we're gonna sit here and probably finish Empire of Storms. And then I might put the audiobook on and try to pack and finish Tower of Dawn. I don't know. It's gonna be a little chaotic today and I do apologize, but I don't wanna I refuse to bring these chunky books with me. Anyway, that's the plan today. But the reason I had to stop, I was just having breakfast and I was like, wait, no, I have to go get the camera and like sit down and talk to you. I was crying and I'm still crying. ABRAXOS is here with the 13, with the 12. It's beautiful. Oh, also, I've totally forgotten this whole other plot line, which is basically that AELIN's gonna have to sacrifice herself to make the lock, to put the key and like seal away the evil or whatever. I'm just like not surprised, and I also like don't really think she's gonna have to sacrifice herself because like it's Sarah J. Maas. Like Sarah J. Maas does not kill off her, like she just doesn't. She's not edgy enough. So it's like I know I'm supposed to be gagged by that, but I'm just kind of not, because I'm like, okay, whatever. I don't know. I love AELIN, but like Manon is my favorite. She is my number 1, and then AELIN, and so like obviously I'm crying over the 13, and like that was the first order of business I had to tell you about, okay? Because ASTERIN isn't dead, thank God. I was really worried about ASTERIN, guys. But yeah, baby ABRAXOS is here, and he brought the other wyverns, and ASTERIN's here, and she's like, where's Manon? So anyway, I do have to get back to that right now because I actually can't like sit here and not like be part of that when it's going on. Lysandra knew that roar, and then there was ABRAXOS plunging from the heavy clouds, 12 other wyverns with riders behind him. I can't do. Guys, I love the witches. Oh, also guys, Rowan, I was sobbing. Rowan went and like convinced all his cousins basically to like commit treason and like say, screw you, Maeve. And they took down their Maeve flags. So like literally half of Maeve's armada, maybe not quite half, but they took down their evil Queen Maeve flags and they put up their white thorn banners and they sailed for Rowan and they joined his side. And Rowan was just like, he really wished that AELIN had been there to see it. ABRAXOS and 11 others angled northward in one smooth movement. The golden-haired rider, however, swept for Lysandra's ship, her sky blue wyvern. I can't do it. The witch was beautiful, a strip of black braided leather across her brow, and she called to none of them in particular, where is Manon Blackbeak? It's okay, I'm okay. Aedion's like, it's a long story, she's here, but like she's actually in the mirror right now. Let's get this book done, okay? Time. She was grateful Elena had given her that stolen time. Grateful she had met them all, that she had seen some small part of the world, had heard such lovely music, had danced and laughed and known true friendship. Grateful that she had found Rowan. So AELIN dried her tears, and she did not fight when Maeve strapped that beautiful iron mask over her face. It was the music that got me. The line about the music, because I'm Assassin's Blade girl, and if you do recall, Sam got her the sheet music, and then the whole orchestra of it all when the slaves in Calicola and Indovir were murdered. Like, it's just the music of it all. That line, it got me. Maeve is so evil, but like we know how evil she is, so it's like the weight of the situation feels like perhaps even worse. But Maeve was saying all this stuff about how she knew AELIN and Rowan were mates, which like we're not surprised by. She basically just like always wanted to control AELIN because she knew that AELIN would be the one to be able to find the word keys, and so she was going to let her get close, steal them from her, and then not let her do it because she could just like use AELIN to do the work for her of getting the word keys, and then not let AELIN like actually succeed in her plan. And then she started whipping AELIN, and it was very reminiscent of Indovir, and like that was very emotional. Lorcan is pissing me off. Like, he was being so daddy the whole book, and then he just like ruined everything at the end. It's actually kind of pathetic because I thought he loved a lead, but like clearly not. I don't know if I'd be able to forgive this if I was a lead personally. Okay guys, I finished Empire of Storms. I'm okay, but I'm also not okay because I've got to finish Tower of Dawn now. Like, the job's not done. But essentially a lead is just like so embarrassed, and that's kind of that. She goes and like embraces all the witches, and I'm like, I'm obsessed with them. And then basically just like all of AELIN's homies roll up. The Silent Assassins are here. Gavin from Wendelin, I kind of forgot he existed, but just like all of AELIN's like thieves and bandits, they're all here. It's so beautiful because she doesn't get to see all of them, but they do all still show up. And then like her whole AELIN's cadre, so to speak, is all there. It was just a really like, wow, what an ending, you know? But the fact that she didn't ever get to see that those ships were flying the white thorn sigil actually is like sending me. I kind of can't believe that Lysandra has just like agreed to give up her life for AELIN when AELIN like makes a sacrifice and dies. This is why she needed to talk to Lysandra when she realized that Nameless is my price. She asks Lysandra basically to give up her life and to shapeshift into AELIN and to be AELIN for all intents and purposes for the rest of her life. And like that was like a lot. And then Aedion's just like, why didn't you tell me? I'm like, okay, sir. The men in this series like just could never be the women in this series. Like, do you know what I mean? And basically where we left off is that the reunion between Manon and the witches is like, obviously I was crying. But Manon and Dorian, they are headed off to go in search of like the other Crochin witches to kind of like bring up an army of like competing witches to fight with the Iron Teeth Legions that will be fighting for Erawan. So that's like a fun side quest. I can't wait to follow that. And then of course Rowan is going to search for his wife because where is my wife? Like that moment was like, Rowan is just like down bad crying at the gym, and rightfully so. Rightfully so. The way that I still have more trauma to go through in Tower of Dawn, I'm sure. It's just like, it's a lot on a girl, okay? But yeah, no, it's time to finish Tower of Dawn now. So just time to throttle myself back into chaos. I'm gonna go get ready for the day and do my makeup while I listen to the audiobook for a little bit. And then once things start, like if things start going down, I'll come back and sit here and we'll like debrief. Okay, I'm doing my makeup as promised, and Hafiza's missing. So that's great. So CHAOL and YRENE are like running around all over the Torre, everything looking for her. And YRENE's like, the library, I think it has tunnels. YRENE has realized basically like how to cure the Volg out of someone. She's realized that like, oh, if someone else has like a ring or a collar or whatever on, like I think I could also figure out how to like get the demon out of them so we don't have to kill them and we can give them their lives back. And this is the information and the knowledge I think that the Volg were trying to prevent YRENE from knowing and from kind of figuring out, which she did figure out. So joke's on you, Volg. You can't outsmart my girl YRENE. Like she's just that healer, you know? But because she figured this out, she was going to tell Hafiza and being like, oh my God, girl, guess what? Breakthrough. And they go to her office. She's gone. So we're running around trying to figure out Hafiza. Like things are escalating. Just letting you know, that's my update while I'm doing my makeup. So Duva is Volg. That just happened. Cool. So she's got Hafiza gagged and bound. They roll up in this like tomb in the library tunnels. She's just hanging out there. She's been pregnant this whole time. That's a big twist. I knew someone was gonna have to be Volg in Tower of Dawn, and I figured it did need to be someone in the Kagan's family probably. I did not really know who it could be. I feel like you could make an argument for almost any of them. Yeah, Duva is Volg. I'm gonna keep the audiobook going. If things get really, really crazy, I will sit down, but I'm enjoying the audiobook. I'm not gonna lie, you guys know I love the audiobook. The thing is like when things do get intense, I find my brain starts reading faster than I can really comprehend. I skip around, I have to reread, and it ends up taking me longer. So with my ADHD, I don't know, sometimes the audiobook is the way to go. So I'm gonna put this back on and let's uncover more of the mystery here, because I want to know what's up with Duva. Why is she Volg? Things are getting serious and like honestly a little like complicated. Things were happening too fast. I needed to sit down. First up, no way we just spent this whole book healing CHAOL's legs only for them to be broken again. I'm tired, all right? CHAOL is taking it better than I am, and I think it's a good lesson for us all because the point was not healing CHAOL's legs. I know that. The point was healing his mind, and his mind is healed. So Duva did end up killing the other sister. She pushed her off the balcony because the other sister suspected that she was Volg. The way that Duva turned Volg is because she got married not that long ago. Parrington sent over some wedding gifts, of course, and right on top there was a ring, a lovely ring. So she just, slipped that right on and then she's Volg. So that's how that happened, in case you forgot. YRENE is our sweet baby girl. She has this like power in her where she can sense when people are about to die. She's really panicking because CHAOL is about to die and she can sense that. So now Hafiza is like coming to kind of like console her and comfort her. And then what do you know? Nesryn and Sartaq show up. Like, great. Thanks, guys. We could have used you 15 minutes ago, but totally okay. Glad you're here. The damage is too great. There must be a cost if it is to be repaired. YRENE, I'll pay it. Doesn't know the cost, I'll pay it. Not a payment, Hafiza corrected, but a restoration of balance. To keep your life tethered in this world, we had to bind it to another, to hers. 2 lives now sharing 1 thread. That's not the worst news ever. The demon broke many, many parts of you, too many, and in order to save most of you, there was a cost. There remained some damage to the spine, impacting the lower portions of the legs, that even we could not repair. Oh my god. That's so annoying. He literally was running 5 minutes ago. With the life bond between you, YRENE's power flowing into you, it will act as a brace, stabilizing the area, granting you the ability to use your legs when YRENE's magic is at its fullest. But when YRENE's power flags, when she is strained or tired, your injury will regain control, and your ability to walk will again be impaired. That is so interesting. I'm curious to see like how that's going to play out in Kingdom of Ash. I find that to be a very like compelling plot device. It will require you to use a cane at the very least, perhaps many days the chair, but the injury to your spine will remain. YRENE's like, literally guys, I just spent the past 6 weeks working my ass off to heal him. So she's like, can't I just heal him again, please? And Hafiza said, it's part of the balance, the cost. CHAOL touched YRENE's hand. It is no burden, YRENE, to be given this. It It is no burden at all. Using the chair is not a punishment. It is not a prison, he said. It never was. And I am as much of a man in that chair or with that cane as I am standing on my feet. I think like him being healed for 5 minutes made him realize that though too. I wanted to heal you, YRENE breathed. You did, he said. YRENE, in every way that truly matters, you did. Okay, cry count. What are we at, like 14? I feel like the crazy stuff already happened. I feel like for the most part now it's just like rallying the troops. We're gonna sail to probably up north with aedion and go like join the war effort. I am hoping that before the end that YRENE and CHAOL are gonna realize who AELIN is. Okay, let's just keep going. I think it's gonna be more chill from here on out though. Guys, I am really frustrated because YRENE has now said what now? And this whole thing that I said earlier about the women being like, what do we do now? Like YRENE's like, what now? And I'm just kind of like, YRENE would not say that. I think it's such poor writing. Like, and I'm so sorry. I'm not gonna like not give a 5-star because of this, but like it actually does piss me off when we have what now? Like, how are you gonna have this like legion of badass strong women throughout the whole series, and then you make them say, what do we do now? Like, huh? It doesn't even make sense. And there was another moment where someone said, what do we do now in Empire of Storms? And I didn't stop to rant about it because I was just like, oh, they probably don't want to hear me ranting about this again. But now that my girl YRENE has said it, I will stop and I will get angry about it because it actually does, it pisses me off. I think it's just lazy writing because you're wanting to like change the subject in the scene. Basically, it's like a break in the writing from going from one topic to another. So like YRENE only asked, what now? Nesryn ran a hand through her dark hair. Different. Yes, there was something wholly different about her. She glanced to Sartaq, not for permission, but as if reassuring herself that he was there. Then she said the words that made CHAOL glad he was already sitting. Maeve is a Volg queen. So like, why couldn't YRENE say like, how was your trip? Like, did you learn anything? She could have said something like, you know, any news? There's just no need for this. And it does not allow, I'm sorry. This annoys me. So that's my rant. Okay. Anyway. Okay. CHAOL and YRENE got married. Like, I know they've known each other for like 2 months, but because their lives are on one thread now, I will approve of this marriage, this union. I think it makes sense. That is the sweetest thing I've literally ever read. I do wish we could have hyphenated. I think YRENE Towers Westfall has a little more aura to it, but that's just me personally. Just because like YRENE did find her ancestors and the tower's name in the Torre, the meditation room or whatever with the bells. I just feel like since that was such a big moment for YRENE with her name, with her last name Towers and like the power that that name holds as a healer, I'm kind of sad to see her last name go. Is that just me? Am I being too feminist? We've got like wives and husbands now. Like our little kids have grown up. YRENE wrapped a hand around the locket she never took off. She smiled down at the locket. I suppose I don't need my little note any longer. Why? Because I am not alone. Oh, here we go. Oh, here we go, guys. She scanned the text she'd read aloud 1,000 times. I wonder if she'll return for this war. Whoever she was. CHAOL took the scrap from YRENE, the paper velvet soft, from its countless readings and foldings. He unfolded the note and read the words he already knew were within. For wherever you need to go, and then some. The world needs more healers. The ship itself seemed to pause. To the handwriting he knew as well as his own. Even AELIN could not have known or dreamed or guessed that this moment of kindness would be answered, not just by a healer blessed by Silba herself, capable of wiping the Volg away, but by the 300 healers who had come with her. CHAOL folded the note. Keep it a while longer, he said. I think there's someone who will want to see that. We love full circle moments. Anders is making fun of me. You all know I'm an Assassin's Blade girly, and like this is just really, it's bringing it all back around. A moment of kindness from a young woman who ended lives to a young woman who saved them. So we just end on all this love and happiness, and then we go over to AELIN in the Iron Tomb. I'm good, actually. I'm gonna read this as the prologue for Kingdom of Ash, actually. I think I'm just gonna, let's just end it here. Literally traumatized. What a journey we've all been on together. Reading the tandem read. I'm glad I read it as a tandem read. I think it would be totally fine either way. I mean, obviously you've probably read the books by now if you're watching this video. I think on a reread, I'd be interested to do it separate, just to do the thing I didn't do, you know what I mean? It was a cool experience though. Like as a reader, you don't get to do something like this very often. So it definitely was like fun, and it made it a little more like chaotic and exciting, even though it was definitely like a long endeavor. I am nervous for Kingdom of Ash, but overall, I really enjoyed both of them. And oh, I forgot to tell you at the end of Tower of Dawn, Nesryn and Sartaq they're like in love, and they're on the boat too with CHAOL and YRENE, I'm pretty sure. So good vibes there, kind of what I expected. Okay, I need to go, but I will see you when we start Kingdom of Ash. I went on my beach trip. I'm back from my beach trip. I just got back a couple days ago. While I was there, I was able to read 2 books. I read more of like a thriller and then also a beach read romance. And I feel like my palette is fully cleansed. Actually, when I was packing up my suitcase to come back home to Atlanta, I needed an audiobook to put on. And at that point in the trip, I was kind of having withdrawals from my friends. I was like, I need to be back in Aurelia to see how we're gonna win this war. So I threw the Kingdom of Ash audiobook on and I just got started. And honestly, I've just been popping the audiobook
audiobook on here and there for the past couple days, and it's officially gotten to the point where I need to stop and kick off this part of the blog. So I've officially started Kingdom of Ash. I updated my Goodreads to let you guys know that I was starting it, and you all had a lot of well wishes for me and also advice. Hold on, let me pull it up because it was so funny. I love reading all y'all's comments on my Goodreads updates. It's like my favorite thing ever, but you can't really respond back on Goodreads. So just know I see them. I love them. It just like made my day. So anyway, it's had me even more excited to get back to reading Kingdom of Ash. I was like, I have to be like maybe a decent chunk of the way into it. I've read 10 chapters. No. I am on page 100. So I think I am like 10% of the way in or so, because it's about 1,000 pages, but I think 100 pages is significant enough to need to stop and give you an update. And I have to show you guys my bookmark. My friend Chloe got me this one off of Etsy. It says, "But Daddy, I love him." And it has little conversation hearts with the different book boyfriends from Sarah J Maas, like the different character names. It has the Bat Boys, and then it also has Dorian, Rowan, and Lorcan. This is Kale Erasure. Why is Lorcan on here and not Kale? But I digress. I'm much happier with Kale at this very moment than I am with Lorcan. Lorcan crawling at the end of Empire of Storms, I'm still thinking about it. And so is Miss Elide in this book so far. So we've essentially got all the same plot lines that we had from before. Also, really quick, can I just say how nice it is to have one book, like, not switching back and forth. A dream. I missed it. As much fun as the tandem read was, I'm glad to be back with like our regularly scheduled programming. But anyways, we've got all of our, regular POVs. So we've got Rowan, Elide, Lorcan, and Gavriel, I think is everyone that's like on the hunt for AELIN. No such luck yet. Elide is like so embarrassed by Lorcan. She's like so over him. Are there any other girls in their group or is it just Elide? I feel like it's just Elide. They're on the hunt for AELIN. Rowan is in his sad boy hours. Then we have Aedion and Lysandra and the whole Terrason crew that is like up kind of in the north, I think. Like I'm not 100% tracking with where they are, but it doesn't really matter. They've got like all of the armies and Aedion is like leading the armies. And Lysandra is pretending to be AELIN. Aedion and Lysandra are like not really speaking. Aedion is pissing me off in this book. He's like, I take back every nice thing I ever said about him. I cannot deal with how immature he's being, but whatever, I guess. There's a couple of the other like lords and like noble people and such from the north that are kind of like in their crew that we like see or speak with at times, but no one like that notable. And also let's keep in mind all of our crew from Empire of Storms does not yet know that Maeve is Queen of the Volg. They just think that Erawan is their enemy. So we have that to look forward to. It's gonna be great. We also have our crew of Dorian, Manon, and the 13 Witches. They are both on the hunt for the third and final word key and also for the Crocian Witches. So they have not really had much luck finding any Crocian Witches. Also, Dorian is still guarding the main 2 word keys. Dorian like drew some word marks to get to talk to, I think it was King Brandon, one of the like ghosty oldie people, about some questions, being like, where's the third word key? I'd really like it. And he basically learned that the third word key is at Morath, which I'm like, obviously it was always going to be at Morath. Anyway, Dorian's just like kind of on this mission to get the third word key because he's kind of mentally prepping, like maybe I'm gonna have to sacrifice myself, but he's feeling like he might get some growth in this last book, which I'm really gonna like if that happens, because I just feel like we've been needing Dorian to kind of evolve. I know he went through a lot of trauma back in Queen of Shadows with that necklace. I'm just needing to see some more development with Dorian, and I feel like with AELIN being gone, he's having to like dig a little deeper. I don't know, but the main gag with them right now is that the spider showed up. The spider that traded with Falcon, actually it's this spider, shows up, and this spider can shapeshift. When it traded spider silk for years from Falcon's life, it got some of Falcon's powers as a shapeshifter. So this spider is a Stygian spider that can shapeshift, which is like a game changer, so cool, but also like so scary, so freaking scary. And it kind of like came to attack Manon because if you remember, Manon stole spider silk from, it's actually this same spider, and the spider's like, I'm going to kill you. And Dorian's like, wait, let's not do any killing. Everyone here is here for a good time. He's like, ladies. And he manages to talk the spider into like showing him where the Crocian Witches are, which I'm just like, what is the spider getting out of this? I don't really understand why the spider's helping you, but it's an interesting plotline nonetheless. But that's been like honestly the main thing that's had me like, because I'm a Man in Blackbeak fan till the day that I die. I got my Man in Blackbeak shirt from Etsy and I am wearing it for our first Kingdom of Ash update because how could I not? Isn't it fun? I will link it down below if anyone wants to match with me, of course. Also, I'll try to find the bookmark if anyone wants to match me on that. But all this to say, that is kind of what's going on with them right now. Dorian, I feel like, wants to go off on his own about this third word key and go to Morath. Obviously, the witches who just escaped Morath are not really keen on going back there to get the word key. That's kind of what's going on with all of them. That is the plotline I am the most interested in because it's just like all my favorite people in one plot line. I guess I'm also definitely very interested in the Chaol, Nesryn, the Southern Continent plot line where they're all still on their boat. Oh, the other big piece of news, YRENE is pregnant. I think she put her hand on her stomach at the end of the last chapter, and I was like, huh? Like, what's going on here? Like, I don't think it's been confirmed, but women's intuition, I'm getting a feeling YRENE is pregnant. So, which honestly, kind of stupid from them, I'm not gonna lie. Like, YRENE has like the tonics, you know, that you need to prevent a pregnancy. And I'm just kind of wondering why, now that their lives are tied, why we weren't being a little more diligent about that pre-war. Because now we've got 3 lives that are all tied together, and that is stressing me out. And YRENE is just like such a worrier, and I really relate to her in that way. So they're still on their way to basically go meet up with Aedion and the whole like armada. So that's what's going on with them. And then last but certainly not least, our girl AELIN. She's just having a really bad time. It's kind of reminiscent of the Dorian chapters in Queen of Shadows where we check on Dorian and he's still having a bad time. It's kind of the same thing. We check on AELIN, she's still having a bad time. She's still getting tortured. It's not fun to read about. And she's having a really hard time, AELIN is, between deciphering things that are real or not real. And I'm curious to see how that's gonna play out once she gets rescued inevitably, I'm sure. And like her PTSD from this whole experience. But basically I just read about how Fenris's twin brother killed himself, which was like really bad vibes. AELIN was like being forced into this dragon glass, and she ended up taking a piece of the glass and throwing it at Maeve, and Maeve had a piece of black blood drip down her face, which is a sign of the Vogue. Remember, no one but CHAOL and YRENE and that whole crew knows that Maeve is Vogue. And so AELIN saw the black blood, and then she blinked and it changed to red, which is crazy. But she changed it to red, so then AELIN was like, must have been a trick of my eyes, you know? But that was a very intense scene, and just like a more drawn out kind of torturing. And then also with Fenris's brother, what is his name? Oh, Connell. It was honestly really sad what Connell ended up doing, because he was the one who was like in love with Maeve in the first place, and Fenris would have never sworn the blood oath if it weren't for Connell. So then for Connell to take his life and leave Fenris without his brother and still bonded to Maeve, just like his worst nightmare. So yeah, vibes are really bad. And that's what you missed in the first 100 pages of Kingdom of Ash. So I'm gonna get back to reading. My plan is to read as much as I can before I go to bed tonight. I have had dinner, I'm done with work, I'm locked and loaded, I'm ready to go. I've got like 3 or 4 hours of reading I can do tonight. Guys, Nox Owen is here from Throne of Glass. At first I was like, is he from Assassin's Blade? But no, he's from the very first Throne of Glass book. He was one of the other assassins that AELIN made friends with and told him to like leave the competition so he didn't get killed, basically. But Nox is here. He's a messenger from Peranth, former thief, Nox amended, winking, now rebel, and Lord Darrow's most trusted messenger. So it's just so fun to see like old things come back around. It's like one of the best things about like a long series like this where you can have those full circle moments. Also, I'm realizing that Aedion, I'm not making excuses for Aedion whatsoever, but I am realizing the reading comprehension kicked in a little bit, because I think that Aedion feels like Lysandra never really liked him, and that their whole kind of like romance, so to speak, was part of this larger scheme where Lysandra was going to pretend to be AELIN for the rest of AELIN's life, and that like AELIN knew for a while she was going to have to sacrifice herself, and Lysandra was in on that. And so I think Aedion is kind of feeling pretty heartbroken under the impression that Lysandra was kind of playing up her feelings for him in order to get him more on board with this plan. And so because of that, he's like adamantly against the plan, you know, just so stubborn. But Lysandra said it was real, Aedion, all of it. I don't care if you believe me or not, but it was real for me. He couldn't bear to hear it. I have a meeting, he lied and stepped around her. Go slither off somewhere else. What is wrong with him, actually? I'm so annoyed with him. Okay, let's keep going. Okay, we had the You Do Not Yield chapter. I can see why everyone loves that. I'm just a Manon girl. I love AELIN. I have no issues with AELIN. But if that had been Manon, I probably would have been sobbing. I don't know. I'm just not in like a crying mood right now, but it was moving. And also Rowan hearing like the ripple of power and now knowing it kind of gave away where AELIN was. That was chef's kiss. And I'm really interested to see what the rescue plan is going to be. I think it's going to involve a lead. But now we're back with Manon and the witches, and they did find the Crotians. I feel like things are heating up. We're kind of getting into the meat of like the exposition, I feel like, for the beginning of the book at least. So we've got some iconic witch scenes going on right now. Manon just met her great grandmother. Dorian's just like flirting with all the witches, which is sending me. He's like, Dorian Havillard at your service, which is just classic from him. But Manon meeting her great grandmother was not on my bingo card. Manon said, I'm tired of talking. Is there something you'd rather do instead, witchling? Dorian is just such a little flirt. Also, I'm on the walking pad now. I just needed to move my body. I was at my desk all day. I'm not trying to really get sweaty, but I just needed to my brain, I was looking at words on the page, my brain was not digesting them. So I'm walking. The Crotians and the Iron Teeth had this big fight. Manon secretly kind of brought some yellow legs witches there to fight so that the 13 could fight with the Crotians to prove to the Crotians that they're with the Crotians. Are you following? I just keep giggling at Dorian though, every 5 minutes. So if you see me smiling, that's probably why I'm smiling. But these have been some real fun chapters. We've had 3 witch chapters in a row, which I just
couldn't be more pleased with. So anyway, having fun, just getting some movement in. And I switched to the Kindle because it's a lot easier while I'm walking. There is so much happening and I feel like I just can't stop every 5 minutes to give you a play-by-play or I'm never going to finish this book. But let me give you high level what's been going on. Also, I feel like when it comes to the war stuff, I'm not as interested in that. I'm not going to lie. Like, I am interested, but I feel like that's boring to report back on. It's like, oh, the mountains are blocking this pass and like blah, blah, blah. Like, it's needed. It's necessary. I'm glad it's included. I don't think we need to go over that, okay? Nothing's happened with Manon and the Witches since our last check-in. The main thing is, oh my god, CHAOL and YRENE, I'm obsessed with them. I didn't know it was possible for me to be more obsessed with them, but because we're getting scraps of like pretty much every plot line in this book, it's like I'm gasping for air every time we get to the next plot line, which it's so addictive. But when we get back to CHAOL and YRENE, I'm like, oh, my babies, I love them so much. So anyway, they've gone to ANSELLLL, which is CHAOL's hometown, if you do recall, and YRENE, it's time to meet the parents. They're going for war purposes. Essentially, the city is going to be sacked in like 3 days by the evil people of Morath. We get there and CHAOL's mom and CHAOL's brother are not there. They've already fled because CHAOL's dad has like kind of gotten wind of this, but he didn't know the city was going to be like totally sacked and now he's kind of panicking. Also, then the Rooks came in the next day and all the people of ANSELLL were like, oh my god, what's going on? They were quite afraid of them, which I would be too if I were them. Okay, so the other thing to note here also is that CHAOL's dad kind of knew the king was Vogue possessed. He didn't know it was the Vogue, but he just knew something was like up with the king and that the vibes were bad, which is why he was kind of adamant about wanting CHAOL home, if you recall. Low-key, it made me like him a little bit more, sorry. But then he was being all stubborn because he wasn't wanting to offer up like the mountains or like work with the mountain people, I don't know, war stuff. And YRENE was being sassy to him. YRENE is also just being like such a trooper. She's just ready to go. Like she is ready to help, ready to fight, ready to do whatever. And it's just like, oh my god. YRENE is like cool as it is, but YRENE makes CHAOL like even better. And then after the conversation, CHAOL was like, I'm sorry for what he said to you. And YRENE was like, literally, I'm sorry you ever had to deal with him for longer than that conversation. Like she's sassy, she's iconic, we love her. But yeah, the Rooks arrived the next day after CHAOL and YRENE got there to kind of like warn everyone. So they're kind of just like prepping the city. We're telling everyone to evacuate, that kind of thing. So the other major update is from AELIN and the rescue crew. She's been kind of like memory jacked by Maeve, as we know. And Maeve was kind of like creating these fake memories, blah, blah, blah. And then ultimately Maeve kind of told her story, which we kind of already know, but it was a more direct telling, like, and it cleared some stuff up. And she told it as if she was one of AELIN's aunts, so that it wasn't really like coming from Maeve. But then by the end of the like hallucination story thing, AELIN realized it was like a hallucination. Maeve was like, where do you think the keys are? Where do you think the keys are? And she was trying to get her to tell like not Maeve, but someone else in like a hallucination type thing, which as we all know, you do not yield. So no success there for Maeve. But now Maeve is starting to put a word collar on AELIN and homegirl's panicking, rightfully so. But never fear, the rescue crew is here. They've made it to Dorian now, and our girl AELIN is literally about to save the day once again. I cannot wait. The girlies just keep girlying. This whole series is so incredibly full of powerful women, and it's just like, I've never seen anything like it, honestly. And for that, we clap and we cheer. AELIN's about to save the day because basically I think the word collar thing was like not real. Like I think that Maeve is going on a wild goose chase over this word collar thing, and I think Rowan set that up to kind of like draw Maeve out of the city or out of where they're keeping AELIN so that we can get in and rescue AELIN. So the rescue AELIN plot is commencing, which is very exciting. And now we're back to Lysandra, and I'm just like not giving you that many updates on my girl Lysandra because the war stuff is just like not that exciting. But I will say that she is now kind of like in cahoots / working with Nox, because Nox obviously clocked that Lysandra isn't actually AELIN, because he was like, hey, old friend. And Lysandra, being AELIN, was like, hey, like she didn't know Nox, obviously, the way AELIN does. So he was like, who are you and what have you done with AELIN? And now they're kind of teaming up. I'm obsessed already. They're like in cahoots and it's a fun time. Oh, and Erawan knows that Lysandra is also not AELIN, and he sent someone to like kind of blow up her spot, and we kind of avoided that, but very narrowly. So those are the updates, but I actually just hit page 200. So I feel like I've been reading so much tonight, so much has been happening, and I'm this far. So great. I'm like, I've been binging this for the past like 2 hours, and I'm like 100 pages more. Okay, great. I'm like, yeah, I can totally binge like a 1,000-page book in like 3 days. No, humbles me every time. Okay, I'm gonna get back to reading. Alita's rescue scheming. She's such a delight. I'm obsessed with her. Also, Lorcan is panicking over this whole scheme. It's so good. The lights are now on night mode just to kind of like set the vibe. It also just like makes this seem like cinematic. It wasn't a cinematic when I had like the big light on. So we've got the ambient lighting. I'm ready for a lead to rescue AELIN. So you're telling me Lorcan has an ex-situationship with a 5-letter name that starts with the letter E, SR. SR is linking up with a lead and basically is like spilling the tea on where Karen is, which means that's where AELIN is because he's like her torturer. And SR is like, Lorcan and I were involved for a time. And yet the tightness that coiled in a lead's gut and the words somehow found space. Lorcan's lover. I'm dead. I'm obsessed with all of Lorcan's lovers. Much more than Lorcan. Once again, sisters before misters. Okay, the freaking rescue chapter ended on a cliffhanger, so stay tuned. We're gonna have to circle back on that. But I really can't be too mad because we're back with Manon. Unfortunately, though, for Manon, the Crotians are ignoring her, so that's great. Basically, Manon is like queen of all of the witches, but the Crotians aren't really like recognizing her as queen of the Crotians, so that's what Manon's like up to now. She's like trying to win them over. And also, Glennis is great-grandma. I might just call her great-grandma or Crotian granny. I don't know. We're gonna need a fun nickname for Glennis. Granny Glennis. We're gonna need Granny Glennis to kind of help Manon win over the Crotians, I think. She's gonna be paramount in this mission. You're telling me ASTERIN's wyvern and ABRAXOS are mates? Like, this is the cutest thing I've literally ever read in my life. One of the Crotian witches, Carson, kind of clocked that Manon and ASTERIN's wyverns were mates, and she's one of the only ones that's spoken to them. Immediately, great information. I'm so obsessed. She also said that ABRAXOS had the temperament more of like a dog, which is like the cutest thing ever. And Manon also wasn't offended, which growth. We love. Wait, guys, it got even better. ASTERIN was like scratching her hair. She was like, do you really think they're mated? ABRAXOS lifted his head from where it rested atop Nesryn's back and looked towards them as if to say, it took you long enough to figure it out. I love them. ABRAXOS has a girlfriend. We're so here for it. Also, ABRAXOS is kind of like a short king. Nesryn is bigger than him. And the Crotian witch goes, he is smaller, yet he dotes on her. Nuzzles her when no one is looking. Please. Literally protect them at all costs. Okay. Guys, did Fenris just sacrifice himself? So he just like snapped the blood oath. I do believe it will kill him to sever the oath. But he's like trying to save AELIN, basically. AELIN was like taunting Karen in an effort to kind of catch him off guard and be able to like escape him. And that kind of like wasn't working. Then Fenris just like couldn't take it anymore and he snapped and he like leaps onto Karen, breaks the blood oath. There's a lot going on at the moment. Let it kill him, wreck him. He would not serve, not another heartbeat. He would not obey. Also, like Rowan and Lorcan are like running to the tent to rescue her as we speak. So we're so back. There's simply so much happening at the moment. So I may just have to recap this once we get through like the entire like scene. We're still like on rescue mission, but AELIN has been rescued. Lorcan kept being like, Rowan, she's over here, like sending out magic and stuff. Rowan came, but AELIN was like, Fenris. So then Rowan was like, Lorcan, you stay with her. Gavriel, we're going back for Fenris. And so they go back and they heal Fenris. And Rowan tortures and I'm pretty sure kills Karen. So love that. Now we're back with a lead and it's just one thing after another. I want to know how a lead's doing though, because she's just been like chilling in the forest while all this has been going on. So we need someone to fill her in. Also, really quick, want to say, I really love how AELIN was able to run. I mean, of course, kind of like thanks to Fenris, but I like that like their bond through all of this was kind of what allowed her to escape rather than Mr. Rowan Whitethorn, who we do love, but like rather than him coming to save the day, I kind of love that like AELIN and Fenris were able to kind of do it, not without Rowan, as like Rowan did need to be there at this moment, and it was definitely a group project. It just was a nice moment for AELIN to like run and not for Rowan to show up and like whisk her away. Does this make sense? I think it just like makes sense for her character. A lot of times when I'm talking about like things that bother me in books, it's things that like don't make sense for the character who we've come to know them to be. This is a perfect example of like the right move for AELIN. You know what I mean? Like still the power of friendship and collaboration essential. That's also right for AELIN, but also this sense of like her running for her life and that strength kind of being what saves her in the moment and circumstance, I think also is very fitting. So I kind of love the like duality of that. I think it just like perfectly sums up like AELIN's character in a sense. Not to get all deep on you, but when I read it, I was like, yes, this is what I'm talking about. Okay, let's get back to a lead.
All right, it's the next day, and last night, my lovely, sweet, amazing partner, he finished his book and then came to bed right when I was reading the Take It Off. I was crying. We had to cut the cameras. If you want to blame anyone, blame him, but we really can't blame him. He's just a boy. He wanted to go to bed, you know? I get it. It was just unfortunate timing, but wanted to update you this morning because the rescue of AELIN was very satisfying. It was so well done. Also, it's pouring rain right now. It's supposed to be raining all day, and I've just gotten ready for the day. I'm working from home today, but I cannot wait to be done with my work for the day so I can just get back to reading. But wanted to quickly, just to start the day, like recap what's been going on, where I'm at. Let me grab my book to hold. A girl needs her props, am I right? I did get some tabs this morning, and I tabbed up where part 2 is so I can keep my eye on part 2. I want to finish this tomorrow if possible. I am really trying to like not binge this necessarily, but I just don't want to drag it out. I'm trying to find the right pace, but setting little goals for myself, like whether I hit it or not, it's going to keep me motivated today. So I am currently on chapter 40-ish, and we have officially rescued AELIN. I feel like we need to talk about the rescue. When she was running, I know I was talking about how she was running, but I don't feel like I fully clocked in the moment the whole running to Lorcan thing specifically, and why AELIN was running to Lorcan, because Maeve would have never used Lorcan in one of her like fabricated memories or dreams. And so Lorcan being like, come to me was like, why has this not been picked up for an adaptation? Like, I just need to see it on the screen. I really do. Also, I need like an official soundtrack. I need something to listen to that's not the ACOTAR one. Anyway, I digress. AELIN is definitely like a shell of herself, and we've just kind of been reading through that. It's been sad. Oh my God, how could I forget? We are so back regarding Fenris, but I really did think Fenris was a goner. But when AELIN was like, Fenris, go back for him, they went and got him, and then they brought him back, and they realized he was dying because he broke the blood oath. But then AELIN was like, just let him do the blood oath to me and we'll save him. So we did that. Then he came to, and she was like, you don't have to be blood oath to me. I was just doing that to save you. And he was like, no, I want to. And that was really sweet. And just like, we loved that. That whole, so well thought out too. Had me on the edge of my seat. I feel like that's been some of the most entertaining parts of the book so far. I feel like it's been kind of slow so far. I'm so sorry. But the AELIN rescue, definitely, that had me locked in. And I'd say like the Manon and Dorian chapters had me pretty locked in too. And CHAOL and YRENE. But the whole war effort stuff, like with Lysandra and aedion, it's just like rage bait. Because every time you read one of those chapters, it's just aedion pissing you off. And then Erawan soldiers kind of like gaining on the armada and everyone having to retreat. It's just kind of amateur hour over there without AELIN, you know? Like everyone's doing their best. Well, except for maybe aedion. Lysandra is doing her very, very best. Sweet girl. This burden was never supposed to be fully on your shoulders. So no judgments there, but it really kind of is amateur hour over there without AELIN's firepower. Because like they don't have the same force, you know? Oh, Dorian can just like shift now. Like that's really convenient for the plot, I will admit. I think that the shapeshifter thing in the plot, it's a fun idea, but it's kind of like a plot loophole where like, oh, we're just gonna have Dorian be able to shift and like that's how we're gonna be able to get the key. Like it felt a little convenient. I'm not mad at it. It's creative. I didn't see it coming, but at the same time, I'm kind of like, how convenient that we just have another shapeshifter, because the shapeshifters keep coming to save the day like every time. But yeah, basically Dorian can like kind of shift now. And then Manon's still kind of trying to win over the witches. ALIN and Lorcan kind of had a moment together after they rescued AELIN. They're like in the like glowy tunnel things, and AELIN got some jewels to kind of help fund things. She and Rowan traded those rings. But while they were doing that, ALIN was like giving it to Lorcan. Lorcan's just like so obsessed with ALIN. Like he would let her slap him in the face if like she wanted to. Like I swear. He is so down bad for our girl, and we stan it. We love it. So I think those are all of my updates. I need to go start work for the day, but later tonight I have my work cut out for me. It's just about 8 p.m. I was doing some filming and editing after work and then ate dinner, and now we're settling in. I actually just got this Kindle Scribe. It is just a jumbo Kindle. It's like kind of hilarious and also iconic, and I'm just kind of obsessed with it. So I think I'm gonna read on this tonight just because I think it's gonna get me more excited to read. I just think it'll be fun to sit here and read on my like giant tablet Kindle. So I'm really excited about that. But I'm on chapter 45. I haven't made much progress since we last spoke. But one thing that did happen that we have to talk about was Manon's speech to all the witches. Cause like, oh, you should have been there when I was reading that. So I'm just gonna read it to you because we all need to relive this. Like it's just so good. All my life, Manon said, her voice wavering only slightly, I have been fed a lie about who we are, what we are, that we are monsters and proud to be. She ran a finger over the scrap of red fabric binding her braid. Keep in mind, the red fabric is from the cloak of her, was it a half-sister, Crochan witch, that Manon killed? But we were made into them, made, she repeated, when we might be so much more. Silence fell. My grandmother does not plan to only reclaim the wastes when this war is done. She plans to rule the wastes as High Queen, your only queen. There will be no blue bloods or yellow legs, not as you are now. And if you do not bend to her, you will not exist at all. We have known only bloodshed and violence for 500 years. We will know it for another 500 yet. Liar, someone shouted. We fly to glory. But ASTERIN moved, unbuttoning her leather jacket, then hoisting up her white shirt, rising in the stirrups to bare her scarred, brutalized abdomen. She does not lie. Unclean. There it was. The word remained stamped, would always be stamped. How many of you, ASTERIN called out, have been similarly branded? By your matron, by your coven leader. How many of you have had your stillborn witchlings burned before you might hold them? The silence that fell now was different from before. Shaking, shuddering. Manon glanced at the 13 to find tears in Jelane's eyes as she took the brand on ASTERIN's womb. You will be killed in this war, or after it, and you will never see our homeland. What is it that you want, Blackbeak? Petra asked. Ride with us, Manon breathed. Fly with us against Morath, against the people who would keep you from your homeland, your future. An Iron Teeth Kraken alliance, perhaps one to break our curse at last. The choice of how our people's future shall be shaped is yours. But I will tell you this. Her hands shook and she fisted them on her thighs. There is a better world world out there, and I have seen it. I have seen witch and human and fae dwell together in peace, and it is not a weakness to do so, but a strength. Manon lifted her chin. You are my people. Whether my grandmother decides it or not, you are my people and always will be. But I will fly against you, if need be, to ensure that there is a future for those who cannot fight for it themselves. There is a better world out there, she said again, and I will fight for it. She turned ABRAXOS' way toward the plunge behind him. Will you? Not a child of war, but of peace. That, yeah, thunderous applause. My God. So good. So that's the main thing that you missed, honestly. Other than that, AELIN's just been like down bad crying at the gym because she's traumatized. And I get it for sure, but I just feel like it's not that exciting of an update. The update with Manon and all the witches though, like the reason that she was talking to the fellow Iron Teeth witches is that Dorian actually practiced his shape-shifting to go and like scope out this Iron Teeth camp in the Farian Gap so that Manon could come and like kind of give this speech and see if she could get the witches, like kind of more like her generation of witches to come and join them. So Dorian Sweetie did a great job and Manon did a great job with her speech. And now I think Dorian's going to be feeling confident to want to go to Morath because he did the shapeshifting, I think just fine for that mission, that like test run. So God help us all when that happens. I'm going to be on the edge of my seat. Anyway, basically now the AELIN rescue crew is on their way back. That's what you missed. Now I'm getting back into the CHAOL YRENE plotline. When we last left off with them, CHAOL finally realized, thanks to his father, that YRENE is pregnant. So they're going to get to have like a moment together now, or at least I'm hoping. And now that I'm looking at the chapter, it just looks like it's like war. Maybe we like haven't had time to talk about this yet. Anyway, I'm just gonna get back to reading. I would really like to get to the end of part 1 before I go to bed tonight, which that is like 200 pages. So can I do that? Maybe not, but I'm gonna try. All right, so essentially we've got like a lot of different battles going on right now, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm not the best at following Sarah J. Maas's writing when she's writing battles, okay? I do make an effort to understand what's going on, but it's just like not that fun to like explain it all back to you because like who cares? Essentially what's going on, we've got war like everywhere. We need AELIN and we need Manon like back in this fight, like stat. First of all, in ANSELLLL, they've been fighting for like 5 days. CHAOL and YRENE still haven't like talked about the fact that YRENE is pregnant. YRENE doesn't know that CHAOL knows, but CHAOL knows. They're just trying to kind of hold off erawan's legions. The rooks have been holding them off pretty well because this like Volg legion doesn't have any of those like they don't have any aerial forces, any of those. I think of them as like literally the flying monkeys from Wicked. I forget what they're called, but like the flying Valg essentially. Erawan didn't send any of those to ANSELLL. So the rooks are doing a good job kind of, yeah, defending the city, but we're getting tired. We're getting worn down. It's bad vibes. So the tides are kind of turning in not so great of a way. That's where we left off there. And then we switched over to aedion, who's simply not having a good time. And I mean, I don't have a lot of sympathy for aedion, but I do have sympathy for all of his troops who are about to get slaughtered. And this battle, they do have the aerial legions, the evil ones, and they're in Peranth, which is in Terrasen. That's where Elite is from. So they're trying to figure out a way to kind of like outwit, outsmart, outlast, outplay. Just like we're outnumbered. And Lysander is just like a wyvern in the sky right now, trying to fight off the evil flying Valg, the Ilkin, sorry. So they're like targeting her. Not good vibes. Once again, Lysander carrying the team for everyone after she was literally thrown out in the cold. Aedion roared from somewhere, reformed the lines, the order went ignored. They were like, listen, this has been fun and all. I've got to go now. Lysander gazed toward the Ilkin, feasting on the right flank, and knew what she had to do. Oh God. I'm tired of her sacrificing herself. The queen has come. The queen is at the front line. For a foolish heartbeat, he scanned the sky for a blast of flame. Please. Oh my God, Aedion, get a grip. Dread settled into his heart, fear deeper than any he'd known. Lysandra had taken on AELIN's skin. Right, because Lysandra understands the fact that all of these soldiers are quitting because literally AELIN's not there to inspire them and lead them. They have no one to fight for because AELIN's not there. So this is brilliant from Lysandra, except for the fact that she's like essentially powerless. She needs to have some really solid like armor on if she's going to be in AELIN's skin because she has like literally no power. She's just like a human girl. I am concerned that Ilkin beat her up real bad. She's losing a lot of blood. She's got some poison in her. I'm worried about her dying, but at the same time, like I've thought she's gonna die so many times in this book that I don't know. I'm a little skeptical. And I really thought Fenris was going to die and then he didn't. And I just feel like once again, we're doing the thing where no one dies. There's a witch tower here and Aedion's like freaking out. He's like, everyone fall back. That thing's about to explode and we're all going to die. All right, guys, I'm gonna sob. I'm just warning you. CHAOL and AELIN are about to be reunited after being apart for a whole book. And I know that they were beefing in Queen of Shadows. Don't get me wrong. Like I know we had beef with CHAOL. Everyone's grown. Things are different now. And I just really am excited about this reunion. I like skimmed down the page and I saw AELIN's name and I was like, stop. Also, AELIN is about to meet YRENE. Or not meet YRENE, oh my God, reunite with YRENE. Also the witch tower did explode, so from the last chapter, but we're gonna have to circle back on that because that's where that left off. So anyway, kill YRENE and AELIN linking up. Best day ever. Okay. No one spoke as tears began sliding down her face. Oh my God. I've
got to calm down. Not alone, he said thickly. CHAOL swallowed, releasing AELIN to extend an arm behind him. To the woman he knew stood there, a hand over the locket at her neck. Perhaps AELIN would not remember. Perhaps their encounter had meant nothing to her at all. YRENE Towers, the queen breathed as his wife stepped to his side. YRENE's mouth quivered as she opened the silver locket and, oh my god, I need a tissue. AELIN unfolded the paper, reading the note she'd written, seeing the lines from the hundreds of foldings and rereadings these past few years. I went to the Torre, YRENE said, her voice cracking. I taught every healer I could the lessons you showed me that night about self-defense. I didn't waste it, not a coin you gave me, or a moment of the time, the life you bought me. Oh, I'm sobbing. She took YRENE's shaking hands. Now it is my turn to thank you. But AELIN's gaze fell upon the wedding band on YRENE's finger, and when she glanced to CHAOL, he grinned. No longer YRENE Towers, CHAOL said softly, but YRENE Westfall. Oh, I'm so unwell. These are my big four. Hold on. Actually, also, I need everyone to comment down below. Like, if everyone, sorry, my brain just like had an idea. Okay, if all the couples from Throne of Glass were on Love Island, like, who would you vote to be your winners? Like, who would you be like, yeah, they're gonna see the money? We love everyone, but who are you voting to like win? For me, personally, it's probably CHAOL and YRENE, like you guys know me. I'm really hoping that Lorcan and AELIN are gonna patch things up because I love them. It's definitely not Lysandra and aedion. So sorry to Lysandra, but like we're not gonna root for aedion right now. I think AELIN and Rowan are solid, and I fear like that might be the popular opinion, but I don't think I'd vote for them as much as I love them. I think I'm voting CHAOL and YRENE. Anyway, let me know, who are you voting? Oh my god, guys, this is so cute. Then let me introduce you, Lady Westfall, to my own husband, Prince Rowan Whitethorn Galathinius. Oh, you guys are so cute. YRENE bowed, but AELIN snorted. None of that, please. AELIN held up the scrap of paper. May I keep this? She eyed YRENE's locket. Or does it go in there? YRENE folded the queen's fingers around the paper. It is yours, as it always was. A piece of your bravery that helped me find my own. Oh, I'm not alright. It's the friendships in this book. It gave me courage, the words you wrote. Every mile I traveled, every long hour I studied and worked, it gave me courage. There is another person responsible for this army being here. He gestured to Nesryn, the woman already smiling at the queen. The rookin you see, the army gathered, is as much because of Nesryn as it is because of me. That's right, CHAOL. Give your girl some credit. Nesryn is, I want to put Nesryn in charge of aedion's job. Like, let's give Nesryn that job. I mean, I know she can't do it all, but like, I just have this feeling that Nesryn is a Virgo, and like, Nesryn will get the job done, you know? Nesryn is who you want, like, planning the group itinerary, like, making sure everyone has their passport. She is like the mom of the friend group in the best way. That's right, that CHAOL is giving her credit where credit is due. A spark lit AELIN's eyes, and both women met halfway in a tight embrace. I want to hear the entire story, AELIN said, every word of it. Okay, girl, just go read Tower of Dawn. We'll pop on the audiobook for you. Okay, anyway, let's move on. CHAOL blurted, Dorian? Oh, of course he did. He has to know how his bestie is. Rowan answered, not with us. He's with Manon, hunting for something important. The keys, holy gods. CHAOL's panicking. He's like, my bestie is in danger. Okay. Nesryn said, may I present Princess Hussar and Prince Sartaq? Like, everyone's linking up. This is the best thing ever. I forgot that, like, Lorcan and AELIN are just like hanging out here too. This is so fun. You too have a tale to tell, CHAOL said. Okay, so CHAOL, you need to read Empire of Storms. AELIN, you need to read Tower of Dawn, okay? Chapter 48. That was my favorite chapter so far, I think. Wow. That healed something in me. I didn't even think about the fact that we're gonna get more like crossovers. So we got AELIN and YRENE, but now we're getting AELIN and Falcon, the merchant from Assassin's Blade. AELIN arched a brow. Hopefully the horse I stole didn't belong to you. I gave you a piece of spider silk for a heartbeat. The then and now blended and wobbled. The merchant, AELIN murmured. She'd last seen him in the Red Desert, looking 20 years older. You two know each other? Nesryn gaped. The threads of fate weaved together in strange ways. Not only that, we've also got the revelation that Falcon is Lysandra's uncle, and everyone is absolutely gagged at that. AELIN slumped into the chair beside CHAOL's. She's like, I'm gonna need to sit down for a second. She hissed at Rowan. What's so funny? Exactly. Rowan smirked that for once you are the one who gets knocked on your ass by a surprise. Wait. They also need to tell AELIN that Maeve is Valg. That's gonna be a less fun conversation, I fear. The silence you can hear in this war tent when Nesryn said the Stygian spiders answer to their Valg queen, to Maeve, there was a collective gasp and then an extended silence. The implications of this are crazy because now, like, we actually get to, like, move forward with this as a plot point. I feel like for so long, it just, like, has been held, and now we're finally, like, getting some momentum on that, which is exciting. Hi guys, it's the next day, and I am officially more than halfway in Kingdom of Ash. I got very sleepy last night, so I kind of stopped updating you after everyone rendezvoused in Enel.
I'm trying to think what's even happened. Lysandra like didn't die, almost died. She kind of like reamed Aedion out. Aedion like kind of realized that there are consequences to his actions. And then other than that, we've just kind of been fighting in ANSELLL. And the main thing that's going on right now, specifically right now, is that AELIN is like panicking, trying to find lorcan. Lorcan is like potentially just like bleeding out in a field somewhere. And the dam is about to get unleashed. So it's a really inconvenient time for me to go for a walk and listen to the audiobook because I'm not going to vlog it. But it's gonna be a really exciting walk. So I'm gonna go get a coffee this morning. I'm on chapter 60, page 513. So I'm gonna head out. We will see how the end of part 1 goes. Wish me luck, because I'm very nervous. I do feel like the dam's gonna come down though, and that's gonna be interesting. So I'm gonna head out, switch over to the audiobook, and we will check back in a little bit. Okay guys, you should have seen me on the walk to get my matcha. I was literally sobbing, listening to AELIN and lorcan, the AELIN and lorcan of it all. And then AELIN dug into her power for like 3 months, and like exploded the water coming from the dam. And now we're back with the Kraken witches and Manon and Dorian. Manon is like, we could get married. So there's just like a lot going on at the moment. I feel like I'm just being like manhandled by this book. But I was literally sobbing over AELIN and lorcan. Like I knew they would be fine. I just felt like they had enough plot armor that they were gonna be fine. It was just emotional the way that AELIN was going to save lorcan, and lorcan was like, no, leave me, like, I need you to be okay. And AELIN was like, literally no, I'll die with you. Finally, they made up, thank God. It almost took lorcan almost dying, so, but we did it. And CHAOL's horse, like, really came in clutch there, so that was great. I'm, like, numb. I just, like, this book is such an emotional roller coaster. Okay, Manon and Dorian are, like, kind of making up, which we like, but Dorian is about to go to Morath, I think, finally. She awoke at dawn to a cold bed. Yikes. Dorian had gone to Morath. Why did he take the 2 work keys? That's such a good plan for them to just get stolen. Like, why do we want all 3 of them in one place? I guess Dorian and Manon still don't have word that AELIN is, like, rescued and okay. I'm like, can we not send a raven? So Dorian's probably still thinking he needs to sacrifice himself, and he wants to just, like, do it while he's there. But I'm like, what's the plan, Dory? I feel like we should have left those with Manon. Okay, let's keep going. Oh, back with Aedion. Joy. My favorite. Not. All right, guys, it's a bit later now, and I've pretty much just been listening to the audiobook all day of Kingdom of Ash. So I'm definitely now like solidly in the back half of the book, which is exciting. There is something notable like every couple pages. Dorian has been doing some scheming in Morath. So basically at the end of part 1 of the book, AELIN and crew learns about YRENE's healing powers and how she can kind of like heal the evil out of the Volg. And that was very exciting news to AELIN. She was very intrigued by that because she was like, you know, could YRENE hypothetically just do that to Maeve? Like heal the Volg out of her, the evil out of her. Could she do it to Erawan? And my brain did not go there. And I was like, honestly, AELIN, I'm impressed that your brain went there. But at the same time, AELIN definitely does not know that YRENE and CHAOL have this like life tether bond where if one of them dies, they both die, because Rowan was like, well, would you sacrifice YRENE and her baby if you knew she could be successful? She was like, if it saved the world, like maybe, yeah. But at the same time, it's like, AELIN's just trying not to sacrifice herself to save the world. Like, cause she could also do that, which I get it. I do. She's like, Terrason needs me. And like, yeah. But she definitely doesn't know that, like, if she sacrifices YRENE, she sacrifices CHAOL, you know? That kind of stressed me out, though, honestly, because I was like, what we're not going to do is sacrifice my girl YRENE. So, but that was kind of like the end of part 1, and then basically just all the crews were headed up to Terrason because they were calling for aid. They were like, yo, we need backup up here, like Aedion and Lysandra and that whole crew. They're like, please, we need help. Meanwhile, Aedion, like, Rolfe came to save Aedion's butt. Aedion still is, like, feeling bad, kind of, and I'm just like, whatever, I can't with your, like, feeling sorry for yourself. There's just been like war stuff happening with them in the north, like, but they need help. They just blew up like 2 of the witch towers, which was like pretty iconic. But I feel like the main plot point that's been going on at the beginning of part 2 has been Dorian and Queen Maeve in Morath and all of their scheming, because Dorian shows up to get the last word key, and lo and behold, guess who's there? None other than Queen Maeve. She's there to kind of scheme with Erawan, but I feel like we're still trying to understand like everyone's motives in all of this, you know? And so we've gotten a little bit of clarity there, which has been good. But also it's just like, I do not know who to trust. I mean, I definitely don't trust Erawan, but Maeve, like, I kind of see where she's coming from in terms of just like, I don't want to be in that icky, ugly realm. Like, I like it here, you know? Erawan just seems evil for the sake of being evil, whereas Maeve is just like, yeah, I just wanted to get away from my husband and like be in a realm where there's like blue skies and just like, you know, chill. But at the same time, like, she is evil. Let's not forget. So anyway, she and Dorian has been weaving a web for Maeve, which is quite impressive because how are you going to outdo the spider queen herself who weaves webs? But he has been scheming. I can just tell. Like, part of me feels like he hasn't been scheming because I think a lot of times I underestimate Dorian. I'm like, he's just kind of like a dumb prince. Like, respectfully, we love him. But like his primary role, I feel like throughout the whole series has been like kind of comic relief, kind of just like flirting with everyone. And he's just like the lovable brother, you know, like that's kind of how I feel about Dorian. And I will say, like, with Dorian's magic, I feel like his magic is just like is so convenient. Like we adapt his magic to fit the plot whenever we need to. And like, I guess I'm okay with that. But at the same time, we're not doing that with anyone else. I don't know. I'm just like, he's human. How does he have all this magic? Like, he is deceptively powerful. And he can just kind of like observe other people's magic and then like take it on. Like, anyway, it's hard to even recap all the scheming that Dorian's been doing with Maeve, but he's basically tried to team up with her. And she was like, honestly, I came here looking for you, Dorian. I thought you were going to be here trying to find the third word key. And I wanted to chat with you. I don't really care about Erawan because like he's kind of my enemy, but we're not going to let him know that. Maeve did reveal kind of her identity. And Dorian has learned a lot about like what's been going on because he didn't know anything about like AELIN being rescued, Maeve's true identity, any of that. So he's come into a lot of knowledge in the past couple chapters. And he's kind of like, Maeve, like, what if we just like get married? And Dorian's been putting his like charm on. Like, one of his skills is flirting, and he's kind of wooed Maeve a little bit, and I'm impressed. So basically Dorian like shapeshifted into Erawan, so he looks like Erawan, and Maeve sent him through a portal to go into Erawan's room. I'm just like, everyone's magic is so convenient to the plot, but it's fine. It makes it easy. The answer is just like magic. So anyway, he's in there trying to find the third word key, and then if anyone comes in other than Erawan, they'll just think that it's Erawan. So all good there. Meanwhile, Maeve is like trying to distract Erawan. So that's kind of what's going on currently. I am honestly trying to finish this book today. I kind of just want to lock in and get through the rest of it because it's just like so relentless in the pace. It's so intense. And I feel like I just need to sit here and probably like binge the last like 300 pages of it on this fine Saturday afternoon. So I am going to try to drive home later to surprise my dad for Father's Day, which is tomorrow. So we may be listening to the audiobook at the end, and I'll try to like vlog that, but it just is what it is, you know? Like, I'm literally mid-chapter because Dorian walked into Erawan's room and he saw a pretty dark-haired girl no older than 20 and near twin to Kaltain. Bile burned his throat, and as the girl sat up further, the sheets falling away to reveal a wasted naked body, to reveal a tooth-thin arm and the hideous purplish scar near the wrist, he knew why he had felt the key's presence throughout the keep. It had been walking, trailing its master, her enslaver. A collar of black stone was clamped around her throat, and yet she sat there in that rumpled bed, staring at him, hollow and vacant and in pain. He's just like gotten a new Kaltain, and Dorian's like really thinking about his meeting with Kaltain earlier. He like talked to her in ghost form. I really enjoyed that. Obviously, the third word key is in her arm, so Dorian's gonna take it. Kill me, she breathed. Would it be a mercy to kill her? Would it be a worse crime to leave her here with Erawan? Manon would have ended it, freed her in the only way left. CHAOL would have taken her with him and damned the consequences. AELIN, he didn't know what she would have done. Who do you wish to be? He was not any of them. A man who had known loss and pain, yes, but a man who had known friendship and joy. The girl sobbed, and Dorian's hand drifted towards Damaris's hilt. Then a crack sounded, bone snapping. One moment the girl was weeping, the next her head twisted to the side, eyes unseeing. Dorian whirled, a cry on his lips as Maeve stepped into the room. Consider it a wedding gift, Majesty, to spare you from that decision. Maeve nodded toward his pocket. Well done. Her dark power leapt upon his mind. He didn't have the chance to grab for Damaris before he was snared in her dark web. Okay, great. Love it. Okay, next chapter. Dorian saying, and there is only one witch who will be my queen. Iconic. Again with Dorian's magic, like, he is just like doing whatever he feels like in the best way. This is crazy. A trap within a trap. One he had formed from the moment he'd seen her. It had been a simple trick to shift his mind as if he were shifting his body, to make her see one thing when she glimpsed inside his mind, to make her see what she wished to believe, his jealousy and resentment of AELIN, his desperation, his naive foolishness. He had let his mind become such things, let it lure her in, and every time she had come close, falling for those slips in his power, his magic had studied her own. I'm like, his magic is so incredibly powerful. I feel like we're not talking about this. Like, why is he the only one who has this like dynamic of magic? His magic seems to be such like a pliable thing. So had it learned Maeve's ability to creep into the mind and to seize it. So he like trapped her in his own mind. Crazy. The king I wish to be is the opposite of what you are. He gave Maeve a smile. And there is only one witch who will be my queen. All right, a couple of things. A lead finally getting closure with Vernon was everything I wanted and more, so that was great. Next thing is Darrow taking care of Evangeline is actually cracking my heart open and melting it in real time. Evangeline was just feeling like really helpless, and she was feeling scared, and she was scared for her friends. And he was like, I'm not heartless, Lysandra. I'm gonna take care of her. And he's like gonna train her to be like a messenger because she just wanted to feel like she had like a purpose in all of this. So that was really sweet. And now, triple whammy,
Manon is here to save the day in Terrasen. She's not with Dorian. He's still flying back on his own, I think. But Manon is here to help save Terrasen. We came, Manon said, loud enough that all on the city walls could hear, to honor a promise made to AELIN Galathinius, to fight for what she promised us. Darrow said quietly, and what was that? Manon smiled then. A better world. The concept of Manon smiling, like I don't think I've ever pictured Manon in my head smiling. Once. Red cloaks flowing on the wind, they filled the northern skies. Thousands upon thousands of them descended upon Orinth, an aerial legion to challenge the Iron Teeth. The Krakens had returned at last. The witches are just like, it's the best. Okay, I'm so excited. Okay, so we are battling in Terrasen. And then turn the page, and then AELIN and the whole crew, they're still like a week away. They're like, we're not gonna make it. Sorry, guys. It's too far. Which, fair enough. But I'm just like, guys, we could have really, really used you for this battle. Lysandra is once again going off as a sea dragon, but like in a river, so I guess maybe a river dragon. But yeah, we're just hanging out with the whole crew like on their way to Orinth now, and I just had to stop because I was laughing. Alita and Lorcan are talking about Paranth, and Lorcan said, Paranth will be rebuilt. We'll see that it is. And Alita says, have you ever done it? Rebuilt a city? No, he admitted. I have only destroyed them. I don't know why, that just like tickled me. He's like, no, I've only destroyed them. He goes, but I should like to try with you. Cute. We love them. I finally got to the so Lorcan did line, and it's just so simply not what I was expecting. I was thinking that Lorcan was gonna like, I don't know, sacrifice himself or like bring out some like incredible ally at the last minute, kind of like Hail Mary, save the day kind of a thing in some kind of a way. That's what I always assumed since it was in Kingdom of Ash. I was like, Lorcan's gonna like low-key save the day in some like really paramount battle. It's gonna make up for all of the stuff that he did in Empire of Storms that was like not as great. But it's simply not that at all. That's not what Lorcan did. Lorcan did something else entirely. Quite charming, but I'm just like dead laughing at myself thinking this was gonna be like a war thing, and it's an elite thing. So I should have known. You have to laugh. I'm sorry. Okay, let's keep going. Dorian has rolled up with all 3 of his word keys. It was so funny. He was flying in wyvern form, and he was trying to be like, guys, no, don't shoot. It's me. And he was like trying to harmlessly like flash the Rookins with like ice to be like, no, it's me. And then he shifts and he's like, hey. And now we're back to Aedion, who's having a bad time. It's just like its highs and its lows. Okay, wellness check on ABRAXOS. Cliffhanger at the end of 88. If something happens to ABRAXOS, I might just have to like DNF the book. Like there's no way. There's just simply no way. Guys, Petra has come to save the day. Petra just saved ABRAXOS basically. And if you do remember, Manon helped save Petra when her wyvern died. And it's kind of like a mini AELIN moment for Manon of like these moments of kindness can come back around to save you. And it's just like a really, I'm unwell. And Petra said to Manon, a better world. Oh my god, go, Petra snarled. And when Manon again hesitated, Petra only said, for Keely, for the wyvern Petra had loved, as Manon loved ABRAXOS. I don't know what to say. The thing that got me too was like, it's not only that Manon lost all of her best friends, but then hearing the crack of bone on rock where Nerene's body broke on impact, then Manon awoke. A wing had covered her. She had no words in her, nothing but a ringing silence. That's how I feel actually right now. So same. How do we just move on from the funeral of the witches and then we get the CHAOL and Dorian reunion that we've been waiting on for the entire book? You go from the lowest of low and then she's like, oh, here's a crumb. Like, I can't even enjoy this. CHAOL and Dorian reunited at last, bestie bros forever. Like, the fact that they haven't seen each other since the end of Queen of Shadows. The world went quiet, but Dorian stared at the rider before him, at the posture of the body, the commanding seat he possessed, and as CHAOL Westfall dismounted and ran the last few feet toward Dorian, the king of Otterlin wept. Is this what the end of this book is going to be? Just me crying the whole time? CHAOL running to Dorian. Oh, the concept of that. I can't. Dorian flirting with YRENE. I have always wanted a sister. I'm just constantly reminded that like all of the events of these books take place over about a year. And like that is absolutely insane to me. CHAOL stood in the heart of that crossroads, merely a few miles from the salt mines, where so much of this had begun just over a year ago. Like that is bonkers bananas. Can't comprehend. Okay, so AELIN, Rowan, Dorian, and CHAOL are going to forge the lock together. Just AELIN and Dorian.
The pace of this book is relentless. Like, I need a break, but I also can't put it down. I'm gonna have a sip of water. They're going to sacrifice themselves. So, like, all right, I've just been like having heart palpitations for like the past hour. I had to just like take a break from filming while I read all of the crazy stuff that went down with like the whole making the word gate or whatever. I'm gonna be so honest, guys. Like, I understand conceptually kind of what happened there, but at the same time, I kind of don't. This is what kind of annoys me about, and not to go on like a rant and a rage, because I do really enjoy these characters. I really have enjoyed reading this series, but sometimes it just kind of like can ruin it for me just a little. Like, it doesn't ruin the whole series or even the whole book, but like I do feel slightly annoyed when I'm like, I can't really explain this. I don't like when like world building is a little open-ended, or like what happened to like sacrifice her magic and like blah blah blah. It just, I'm like, huh? It just like, it didn't really make sense. Does anyone else feel this way? And does this bother anyone else? I'm trying not to let it like bother me, but I think I just struggle sometimes when like the magic and the rules and the world of it all is a little bit like malleable, and it's just kind of like a vibe rather than like a concrete thing that happened. Do you know what I'm saying? So I am ranting for just a minute. Also, I kind of want to rant about AELIN having to give up her magic. I just think, I don't know, I feel like something needed to be sacrificed in all of this, because there does have to be like some kind of sacrifice. But like, honestly, in my opinion, like I'd rather you kill off a main character than just like get rid of AELIN's magic. Like, that's not doing a whole lot for me. And then also, what was AELIN doing bargaining like, we'll keep erawan, we'll keep erawan? Literally what? Like, I am enraged at that. Like, what was that? From the ultimate schemer herself. What was that? And for who? Elena? Who's done like nothing? Ooh, it kind of makes my blood boil. I'm like actually kind of annoyed. The more I sit here and like talk about it and think about it, the more I'm annoyed. Because now, like, what was the point of any of that? Like, actually, what was the point of any of that? I guess the point is that like now Erawan can't bring in his other brothers, and just like the power and the threat of the word keys are gone. And now we just have to deal with the evil people who are left in the kingdom, which just means like killing Erawan and killing all the Valg. But I'm just like, AELIN, what? Use your noggin. What were we thinking here? Like, send Maeve home, send Erawan home, then come back. Like, she's like, actually, I just like wanted to give YRENE this opportunity for a promotion. Like, I just thought like with my little noggin that like YRENE was gonna like want to prove to herself that she could do this. And I'm just like, you know what? Like, just because YRENE can does not mean we need to put her in that position. You know? Like, I'm feeling really stressed about the YRENE of it all. I mean, I'm sure it's gonna be fine because we know who we're dealing with. I mean, it wasn't fine for the witches, but like, there's literally no way we're gonna kill off YRENE and CHAOL. There's simply no way. Like, I won't believe it. So anyway, those are my updates from reading through the like forging the lock and getting rid of the keys kind of chapters. I really liked when Dorian's dad came and was like, actually, I'm nameless. Nameless is my price. You don't even know my name. I don't have a name. I was like, you know what? Come to think of it, you don't have a name. And I kind of liked that because he was like kind of the central villain in the first couple books. And then for him to come around and get to be like the good guy here at the end, I really liked that. And I wish that like he could have just taken the place. We could have gotten rid of Erawan, and then AELIN could have gone back with her magic. Like, I don't really understand why we couldn't do that. I really don't. I know like he didn't have like as strong of powers and magic and stuff, but like sacrifice him. He was willing to do it. He had already been forgotten. There was already a spell where he was going to be forgotten. So like, let's do that. Then we're going to send Maeve and Erawan, go lock him up, get rid of the keys, and then come back with your magic. Like, what was so hard about that as the plan? I'm feeling irritable about this at the moment. Maybe I'll feel differently once I get to the end. But I think I'm just like, this is already, such a long book that I'm like, I still have another 150 pages to go after like all of this just went down with AELIN. And I'm kind of like, maybe it's because you didn't get rid of Erawan. Like, we might be able to like be wrapping this up sooner if you could have been a little smarter here. But now I have to sit here and be locked in for another 150. Like, it's just, I will say this book has felt pretty long, and I don't mind a long book. I really don't. Like Empire of Storms and Tower of Dawn, it felt long together because I was reading them together, but neither of them like felt like too long. And same with like Queen of Shadows, like did not feel too long. They were getting longer. This one to me, I do feel like there's some stuff maybe we could have trimmed. But yeah, I'm currently on chapter 100. I have like 20 chapters to go, and I do need to go now. I'm gonna get in the car to drive home. So I don't know if I'll finish it on the way home. Let me see how much longer I have in the audiobook actually. How do I still have 3 hours left in the audiobook? I mean, I guess it makes sense, but I'm just like, how are there 3 more hours of this book? I feel like I've been reading it forever. And after that big thing just happened, I'm just like, there's no way. Like, how do we still have 3 hours? This was gonna be a 5-star up until this dumb plan. I'm feeling annoyed at the moment, so I need to go take some deep breaths. It's just a book, like it's really okay. AELIN kicking Dorian out and being like, yeah, you go You go be okay. You go live, Dorian. That was sweet and all. But like, what are we doing trying to save Elena? I don't care about Elena. I really don't. That's all for now. I'm gonna go get in the car. The cry count is up again. I am crying again because Darrow is naming Evangeline his heir. That's like the only update really so far. I feel like it's just been a lot of like fallout from the drama of AELIN giving up her powers and stuff. I'm not really understanding what it means that the gods are gone now. Part of me is also curious, like YRENE was asking like, oh, if you banish the gods, like I may not be able to heal people because Silba is the healing goddess. So I'm really curious about that. Sorry if the camera is like moving. It's on a gimbal, but it's like stationary. Why couldn't we have stuck to the plan, you know? I'm just still feeling a little bit like that, but okay. But basically the whole like depression crew, aka Aedion, Lysandra, and team are all just still in the north, I think in Orinth, and they're about to, like, they're just day by day just getting like killed by erawan, and this is kind of like their last night, or so they think. So I'm getting emo at that. Also, I am realizing that we never talked about the multiple portals and how AELIN like fell through a bunch of worlds and how basically Rysand saved her and like slowed her down so that she could land in her realm. That was cool and all. I like an Easter egg. It didn't surprise me at all because I know that like these worlds all overlap. I feel like I'm just getting a little fatigued with this book though. I just feel like it's like so long-winded. Honestly, I kind of just feel like ever since the 13 sacrificed themselves, I've been like, pack it up. Pack it up. Like, I just don't care anymore. They're my favorite. Ugh, whatever. I didn't end up reading any more of Kingdom of Ash when I was at home for Father's Day, and it's been like 2 days because I just needed to take a break. I think I was unconsciously, irrationally angry about the 13 having to sacrifice themselves when literally no one else has to die in the whole series. But then I was riding in the car and Gavriel died, and I literally had no emotional reaction to that. I was just kind of like, that sucks. Because I'm so closed off from Aedion now. Like, Aedion can grovel all he wants, and I'm not judging Lysandra if she wants to get back with him, but I'm not that into them. I'm not voting them cutest couple. Like, Aedion kind of like gave me the ick, and he's not coming back from it. It was a sweet moment between Gavriel and Aedion, but I've just been like kind of impatient to finish the book to the point where I was like, okay, let's move this along. Like, I kind of don't care. And I hate that feeling, but I don't know. I think it's just simply no way that we have like that much content left to get through. And we kind of do, because it's kind of just like a lot of tying up loose ends. When you think about the fact that like Dorian rolled up and he didn't know that the witches had like sacrificed themselves. Like, a lot of people are not like looped in on other things from other little crews and stuff. And so there's a lot of just like explaining things that we as the reader already know, but we get to kind of like hear or see the reaction that people have of like getting put in the loop. But to me, I don't know. I don't really care. I'm just impatient to kind of get to the ending, and I hate that I'm feeling that way. And I feel like maybe I won't feel that way now that I've taken a couple days before actually finishing. And that was my purpose and my point in just pausing and coming back to it, because I knew in the car that day I was just like getting annoyed at the book, and I was like, this is a me problem, and I don't want to end it on this note. So I just like paused, and I'm ready now to finish the book. I have just about 100 pages left. I feel like it could go one of two ways. I could either kind of decide that I'm over it, numb up, and like just kind of get through it and not really care, or it could crack me open. I know it's gonna be bittersweet to end the series, and I have had a really, really good time, but like when the party's over, the party's over. You know what I mean? I don't know. I feel like the party is coming to a close, so I'm ready to just like close it out, and I am excited to finish it out. So, all right, so AELIN's on the battlefield doing her big one with Maeve and Erawan now. So just want to let you know, give you context of where I'm at. I don't know why I'm just like not as amused or like into it. Like, ever since the witches died, I think I just wanted to throw the book across the room, and like I haven't been excited to read it anymore. I know that's dramatic of me, but I kind of do think that's what happened a little bit. I don't know. I think I'm also just like sad to finish it, and no ending was gonna be perfect. There's just something about like knowing it's over after this that I'm kind of like, yeah, I'll just stop here and I'm just not gonna read the end. I should be like absolutely obsessed with this, but I think I'm just like fatigued. I think I should have taken a longer break between reading the tandem read and Kingdom of Ash, like upon reflection. I was so excited to get back into it because I missed them so much, but with this being such a long book, it's been the only book that I've been reading for like the past week, and I think I either needed to like take a month to read it and be reading other things at the same time, but that's really hard to vlog, like just mindset wise. It's really hard to film me reading it if I'm gonna take that long. But also I think I should just maybe force myself to have a little bit of a longer break and to miss them a little bit more, because this is just like so much book. I do like that AELIN's kind of got her Selena bravado here in the conversation with Maeve and Erawan. She's like, forgive me if I want to savor it, to talk with my great enemy for longer than a moment. But it's just making me sad because I know it's all bravado, and she's feeling like pretty dumb about the decision she made to try to save Elena. And like, that was dumb. I'm not gonna lie, that was kind of dumb. I don't know. I just think ever since she made that decision and ever since the witches died, it just like put me off. So I'm trying to like cleanse my aura, but okay. Let's get back to reading. Okay, so YRENE killed Erawan, which we love. I did enjoy that, but I think I just like couldn't fully enjoy it because I knew she shouldn't have had to. I just feel still really annoyed with like the way the end of this book is going. And now I had to come on and talk to you because I'm annoyed again. And that's because AELIN is just like opening this random portal with this random plot line of bringing out the fae who dwelled in Terrasen from like years ago. Like, I'm so, what? It feels like one of those convenient things at the end, like almost like in a mystery thriller or whodunit when it's like some random character at the end of the book pops in and that ends up being the person and you never could have guessed it all along. It's kind of giving that. So it says, down on the battlefield, portal after portal opened, right where Rowan and the cadre had drawn them in their own blood as they fought, all to be opened upon this spell, this command, and beyond each portal, that teeming mass of people could be seen, that army. So it's just like random army coming through a portal, large as horses, wolves growled, wolves with riders. I'm like, huh? The fae who dwelled in Terrasen were not wiped out so thoroughly, AELIN said. They found a new home with the wolf tribe. And did you know that while many of them came here with Brannon, there was an entire clan of fae who arrived from the southern continent, fleeing you, I think. All of them actually don't really like you, I'm sorry to say. It just feels like, what are we talking about right now? It's just not feeling like this grand battle. I feel like the whole ending feels so fractured to me. First up, we have the battle where the witches have to sacrifice themselves. And also, why did that have to be the first battle? That should have been at the end. Like, if that was going to happen, that should have been at the very end. The very end. The very, very end could be Maeve versus AELIN. Obviously, that had to be the very end. But, like, that could have been during this battle or something. I don't know. The whole erawan thing, who we shouldn't have to be dealing with him anyway, but we are. So, like, that annoyed me. I don't know. I think I just get annoyed when I spend so much time investing into a book. And at my grown age of 27, I don't really understand what's going on at the end of the whole series. Like, it's kind of annoying. And I don't think it's a me issue. Like, I'm pretty detail oriented. And, like, there might have been something about the fae who dwelled in Terrasen were not wiped out so thoroughly. I would have been fine with this plot used in, like, the war if it had maybe switch it with the timing of the witches. Like, if that had been, 100 pages ago or something, wouldn't have cared. But for that to be the, like, final thing that's going to help them win, I don't remember them talking about that. It wasn't made important enough, in my opinion. So now I'm just like, okay. Sorry, I feel like I'm so angry right now at the end of this book. And I was feeling this way a couple days ago and I thought giving myself some time off would help me like reset. And clearly it didn't. And I'm feeling more like it's a book issue now, but also I'm just feeling bad because I don't want to give off bad vibes. I'm sure so many of you guys love this series so much if you watch this whole spoiler vlog up until this point, but maybe you're just curious about my thoughts and hopefully you won't hold it against me because I do really like the series, okay? We're allowed to criticize things and still enjoy them. I'm just like not really understanding the whole AELIN saying, I am a god thing. I don't know. It's not really like doing it for me. I'm feeling sad that I'm like frustrated with the ending. Like it's really making me upset. I don't understand how Rowan and AELIN are erupting in power when AELIN has like no power. Like how are they erupting? Flame, white hot and blinding, roared towards Maeve. I don't understand. I thought AELIN didn't have her powers. Okay, so we stabbed Maeve in the back. AELIN just put Silba's ring on Maeve's finger. I really like this ending, honestly. I think this is cool. And now she's like vanishing, I guess. Okay, that's it. They won the war. Yay. And I still have 50 pages to go. I know I should. That was just like, that's it. I don't know. I think it also kind of bothered me that AELIN didn't come to Terrasen until the very end. And I know that that was like meant to be this whole big thing where like AELIN's finally home. But I really truly did think that like AELIN was going to fight alongside aedion a little bit. Like at some point. Beyond just like the grand finale. Also, I think the only people that died is like Gavriel and Murtaugh and the witches, obviously. I just wish that we were brave enough to kill off like kind of a main character. I don't know.
All right, let's talk about the end of Kingdom of Ash, and I'm gonna keep it kind of quick because I'm honestly just like exhausted from this book and from this series, and I feel like if you read it, you could understand where I'm coming from. I think I was having a lot of different emotions over the past couple days finishing up Kingdom of Ash. I had so much fun with it until about the last 200 pages, and that's where I could probably rant for 20 minutes, but I don't think I need to rehash all the things that kind of irritated me about the ending. I think ultimately I can definitely acknowledge that there is no perfect ending. And I think I was always probably going to have a couple of issues with how things wrapped up. I think I also was feeling more on high alert for things that bothered me because I knew this was like the last moments I get with them. You know, there was no other chance to like fix something or change something. So I think that also played into some of my emotions with it. I don't know exactly. I think reading is such like a personal and emotional thing. And I think that the emotions that these books were able to get out of me is such an impressive thing. So ultimately, you guys know I love this series. I really thoroughly enjoyed reading it and had so much fun documenting my experience and sharing it with you guys. If you watch my channel, my other videos, you know I don't read that many big series. I'm very glad that I read this series. I think it's just such a time investment to read long series, and this reminded me of why it kind of ends up feeling like a chore to me sometimes. Like getting through this book was not as fun as I wanted it to be at times. There were so many moments, especially in this video, of payoff that we got that you couldn't get from like a trilogy or something like
like that. You know, there were just these moments where this had been building up for like 4 or 5 or 6 books, and we finally got this like reunion or this realization, this moment. Like in this book when AELIN and YRENE finally met after first meeting way back in The Assassin's Blade, which I read first. Like that was just, I was sobbing, obviously. It's a good reminder to me of like why longer book series are so great and the payoff that they can have, but at the same time, I do think some of my frustrations with reading some of these later books, they did just feel like weights a little bit, and I just don't want to feel that way. I think I need to just take the pressure off myself so that I can read these things without feeling that way, but I had to read them and like have those feelings naturally come up for me to even realize that that's something I need to probably work on with my mindset reading series in the future. Really quick before we wrap up, I just want to say that I was very charmed by lots of the little details at the very end of the book. I wasn't crying at any of them. I'm just not feeling like emotional today. I think I just felt a little bit too disconnected from some of the pacing with like kind of the conclusion of the battles and all of that. Once that was over, I was not mad at the pacing at all. It was just from the point until like after Dorian got that 3rd word key and we started like the vote and all of that, and then like the witches sacrificed themselves in that battle and everything of that. From there until Maeve was dead, I just felt like something with all of that felt a little off to me, and I didn't hate any of it by any means, but the payoff just didn't feel like what I wanted it to be. I don't know, and I can't even really describe what I wanted it to be, but the ending really did warm my heart. There were just so many little details that just like, oh, it was really sweet to see Lysandra meet Falcon and kind of learn that he was her uncle. I was pretty sad when Manon was saying to Dorian that she misses her witches, and she was saying to Dorian, like, you won't find them. That was upsetting, obviously. AELIN offering Gavriel the blood oath after he died was very moving. That was like the best part, I felt like, of Gavriel's death to me. With the witches too, the curse was broken, they were going home, like that. I figured that was gonna happen, so it didn't really make me that emotional. I don't know, but it was really sweet. I think it's just hard to feel this like swell of joy and pride for that, knowing that Manon's going back by herself. Like it just is like upsetting, you know? And I know that they couldn't without the sacrifice, but like still, okay? And then also AELIN offering to do the monument for the witches in the spot where they sacrifice themselves. Okay, we're not gonna talk about it. I love my girls. Also Lord Lorcan, hilarious, loved it. And then at the very end, the last line of Kingdom of Ash says, tell me tomorrow, and that's the last line of Throne of Glass, which just like, I loved that. I remembered that from my first vlog, actually reading that to you guys, and it was so cute. Rowan was basically like, do you want me to tell you where I think we should start rebuilding? And AELIN was like, tell me tomorrow. It's just cute. Plus in the like epilogue, the king's flame was blooming, which was very like full circle and just like the perfect ending. So the ending was so precious in so many ways. I didn't even hit on everything, like Evangeline too, and YRENE and CHAOL, and Nesryn's going back home to the southern continent, like just so many. I can't even sit here and explain it all to you. Like, so all of that left like a warmer fuzzy feeling in my heart, which was needed after feeling a little bit like emotionally manhandled through quite a bit of the end of the book. But I think those are most of my thoughts. Thanks for coming along with me and reading the tandem read and Kingdom of Ash. I'm sure this video was so long, so I really appreciate you staying all the way to the end. If you made it this far, comment down below with the fire heart emoji, obviously, so that I can know who made it to the end. And let me know in the comments down below, did you do the tandem read or did you read them separately? And also let me know which book was your favorite in the whole series. Mine was definitely Queen of Shadows. I just love that one so much. But yeah, thank you so much for coming on this journey reading Throne of Glass with me and listening to all my yapping and spoilers. I hope that you guys enjoyed it, and if there are any other book series you would want to see me do something like this for, similarly like a spoiler version, let me know in the comments. I will leave links to my other Throne of Glass videos in the description down below if you missed them and want to see them. But I think that's all I have for you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon in another video. Bye.